Hello.
Long time no see. How are you?
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening, Mel.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening, Kyrie.
Hello, Eric.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay, How are you?
I'm good.
good. Is that Dante?
Francesca,
Oh, Francesca, how are you?
I'm good. I'm good.
Good.
I will take that as a compliment.
You should.
How are you, Dante?
I'm well. Thank you. How are you?
Good. Can't complain.
Good evening, everyone.
So are we ready to go or are we waiting on other folks?
Hi, good evening. This is Fred. We're just waiting to make sure that we're close to quorum. We're filling up rather quickly this evening, so we're going to begin in about another minute or so.
All right, hi, Fred.
How you doing, Eric? Okay, Madam Secretary, are you on?
I'm here.
Okay, are you prepared to start recording minutes?
Yes.
Perfect. Okay, all right, we're going to begin. I am now calling this meeting to order. The time is now 7:08 p.m. I would like to welcome everyone to our last regularly scheduled board meeting of CB9 for this year. My name is Fred Baptiste. I currently serve as the chair. I want to welcome everyone again. It's definitely been a very interesting year, to say the least, but interesting in a lot of ways. In terms of we've overcome a lot of challenges, we've seen a lot of adversity, but at the same time, I'm so proud of this board because we've done and accomplished so much, and this community has overcome so much as well. This evening, we have a very full agenda, so we are going to proceed with the program. I would go to item 1 with regards to the rules of order. We're going to waive the reading of the rules, but very simply, the only thing that is we request here is that we come here as a community to discuss community affairs. We ask that all opinions are respected, that people's time when they are given, when they're recognized, that allows, when they're recognized by the chair, they are allowed to speak and state their opinions in the appropriate times. We are now going to move on to item 2, presentations. This evening, we have with us the Major R. Owens Health and Wellness Community Center overview. Do we have, I saw him before. Eric, are you on the line?
I'm here.
Okay, you now have the floor to give your presentation.
Okay, this is David Jakowski. I'm going to share my screen and that screen share is disabled. There we go.
So good evening, Community Board 9. My name is Eric Woodland. I am the Director of Community Engagement with BFC Partners. I've been on the Armory project for roughly 5 years now, working alongside my colleague Ron Santa and also David Jakowski, who's our architect from Marvel Architect. So this is a Public Design Commission presentation, but I thought we'd jump in and give you an update on the Armory and some of the progress that we've made over the last 2 years after we started construction. A lot of good things are happening. It's still in progress. We have a lot of tweaks to work out, and we're slowly bringing it around to full circle. So David, you want to go to the next slide and we'll start. I have 10 minutes, so I'm going to share this with David. And then if we have time at the end, we can take a few questions. If not, we can form some other type of Zoom meetings where I can talk to smaller groups at a later date. I'm open to that. Please talk to Dante and get my contact information. So I thought I'd start by saying that top line, that's former Bedford Union Armory team. It's now the Major R. Owens Health and Wellness Community Center. Appropriately, we had a community advisory committee, which was selected over a year ago, decide on the name. And so since Major Owens was a catalyst and making the Armory come around, we thought it'd be very great to name it after him. So on this community advisory committee, we have Dion Ashman, who used to be a member of Community Board 9. He helps with security. We have Joe Coelho, the current chair, who's been a great help. And thank you so much, Joe. Rabbi Eli Cohen, who's helped with membership, access, and other areas and functions of the Armory. We have Valerie Fleming, who's just come on board. She's helping us with our back to school event in August. We have Val Henry, who works alongside Carmen Martinez, who I think is on this call, who helped with our Housing Connect 2 workshop 2 weeks ago. We have Von Joseph, a community member, who's also helping with our newsletter. Marinike Lambert, who is supporting our membership and access, as well as our back to school event in August. And we have Beverly Newsom, who I think is on the call, who I've worked with for 3 years. We've become friends. She's head of our subcommittee for housing and visits, tours coming up in late August to September, not only for the Armory itself, but for the housing. We have Dwayne Nicholson, who has helped create, security systems and traffic flows and help us understand what it's going to take to open the Armory under the 600 kids per hour that we're projecting. We have Unella Roan Perry. She supports our housing committee with Beverly Newsom. And then there's Tony Robinson. She supports the nonprofit tenant programming. She's also a tenant in the building. She runs Digital Girl. And then there's Ms. Shirley Spears. She's been in the community for roughly 50 years, and she's a guidance counselor who joined us just in the last 3 weeks. And she's going to support where she can, but right now she's working on the back to school event in August. I want to say, kudos to all of these guys here. They've helped a lot. I'm going to go through some projects that they've helped with, and you'll get a gist of how they've supported the process. So naming the Major Owens Health and Wellness Community Center, naming the Betty Carter Auditorium for the Arts, selection of drill shed historical figures. They've created subcommittees, security, membership programming. They're working on now Major Owens logo that we're going to present to you guys in another month or so. Housing tours, housing workshops, newsletters, our back to school event, and then open houses later this fall. Next, oh, you're already there, David. The Major R. Owens Health and Wellness Community Center will be open to 250 Community Board 9 residents at $10 a month. Access for that membership gives you open court basketball time. We have a turf field, which is called multi-sport, of access to the turf field, and then open swim hours and family swim hours. There'll be discounted rental rates for nonprofits in the community. There'll be discounted rates for the Betty Carter Auditorium for the Arts. So if you have a gala, a dinner, a 50th anniversary, a theater presentation, concert, spoken word, all those events can take place. And it's actually that photo to your right. That's the Betty Carter Auditorium. Some of the activities that'll take place sports-wise are on that list: basketball, soccer, lacrosse, swimming, martial arts, Muay Thai, a healthy range of yoga activity, Ifa Tayo provides African dance and African drum classes, aerobics, and there's cardio, strength and strength training in our fitness room. Okay, next slide. These are the organizations and nonprofit tenants that are currently taking space in the community center. New Heights is an AAU-driven basketball, nonprofit basketball group. They're going to manage our basketball courts. So any activity that happens on their court, we would introduce you to their management team, and you'd work with them on renting courts or signing up for programs. Going across left to right, the Carrie Gabay Foundation. Carrie Gabay was the gentleman killed in the Juve 2015 Juve event, and we named our recreation center after him. His wife Trinell started a nonprofit foundation. The mission is community development. I'm working with women of domestic violence and single moms. If we go to the right, there's a Brooklyn Community Pride Center, LGBT advocacy. They have over 20,000 members. If you go to the left on the far side, you have Imagine Swimming. As New Heights manages the basketball courts, Imagine manages the swimming pool. And then you have Dedicated to the Struggle, which is the James E. Davis Stop the Violence Foundation, run by Jeffrey Davis, the former district leader. To the right, you have the West Indian American Day Carnival Association, who will do a virtual parade from the Armory in September, which is really cool. And then they're going to provide costume making classes, adults, children, across the spectrum. And then they're going to provide steel pan drumming. And they also go into the arts as well. To the left, on the left side of the page, you have Ifa Tayo Cultural Arts Academy. Again, African drumming, African dance. They also work with yoga, wellness programs, computers, arts programming, and mentoring. To the right, you'll have Global Concepts. As New Heights manages basketball, Imagine manages swimming. Global will manage the soccer field, which can have football, lacrosse, field hockey, obstacle courses. You can train for baseball in the winter. To the right of Global, you have Digital Girl. Those of you that don't know Tony and Michelle, really cool people. They're in the district. They're working at the schools today, and they provide computer literacy training and coding to not only young girls, but young boys. And they'll work with adults, maybe getting your workforce development pages together or your resume together to help you there. And then at the bottom, we didn't introduce Callan and Lord maybe 2 years ago. They're working with Brooklyn Community Pride Center. It's a mental health agency for LGBT. And so they have their therapy or counseling spaces on the ground floor of the Armory. And so they'll be working there as well. So next, David. This is our affordable housing chart. Again, nothing's changed over the last 5 years. We're still at 60% affordability. The income ranges are there. 250 of the units are under affordable for those AMIs you see to your left. We have two buildings. The building that goes up for lottery very, very soon is Building 2 on President Street. There are 55 units there, of which 5 go to formerly homeless. And then in Building 3, which opens up later in 2021, we'll have 195 affordable units, and the rest will be standard. Eligible household sizes range from 1 to 7 people. Next slide. And this is a fun page. Last week we had early voting. So when you think of Shirley Chisholm and Major Owens, you know that they're a catalyst to, voting rights and civil rights. So on that photo to the right, that's the staff. Those are all the polling staff members. I got them to join up, and that was the inaugural approach and photograph. And we'll bring them back in November for the election process again. Below that, that's where they were taking seats, and I just took a snapshot. But today, if you look in the bottom left-hand corner, that's what the drill shed looks like. We're laying the basketball floor, and then further out towards that barrier, that will become the green soccer turf field. And then where you see the blue wall, that's the Carrie Gabay Recreation Center sign. But beyond that is a 6-lane swimming pool, which you see up above in the upper left-hand corner. The pool is finished. We can't jump in. We locked the door so no one can jump in yet. But look up on the wall. We have 2-time Olympian Leah Neal, who's not in the Olympics this year. She retired. but she's going to run her program, Swimmers for Change, out of the Armory. And it's to help lower income Black and brown kids with swim lessons and so forth. So those are some fun events that happen. I think my next slide, I give it back to David.
Yep.
Okay.
So part of the progress update here is the landscaping that's taking place at Building 3. It's the landscaping that is both in the courtyards and at the roof terrace here. I'm at this point, I'm actually going to hand it off pretty quickly to Rachel Whiteside, who is our landscape architect, who will briefly go through some of those updates.
Hi, thank you, David. Okay, so here we have on the building's roof, we have the roof landscape, which provides a variety of seating and paving with large areas of green planting areas to absorb stormwater and provide benefit to the migrating birds and wildlife. We can go to the next slide to show what the landscape is made up of. Here are the kinds of materials we'll be using and the types of plants that will be planted in the large green areas. We make a big effort to incorporate native plants that attract pollinators and benefit migrating birds. We can go to the next slide. Next, we have the landscapes that are on the first floor of the building, and these are 2 courtyards that are not accessible to the residents of the building, but that provide visual interest from the windows and from the roof above. And this is made up of a large area of green planted area that absorbs stormwater, contributing to the development's larger goals of sustainability. We can go to the next slide. And this is, what the design intent is made up of a graphic of paving bands set within ground cover with some islands planted with trees and shrubs. And this is the variety of plants that are adapted to grow in the kind of spaces here that we'll be using. And that's all for the landscape. Thank you.
And then Eric, I
Okay.
don't know if you wanted to just go over some of these items.
Yeah, sure, thanks. Okay, to the left, guys, you see a photo of Chris Owens. That's Major Owens' son, and earlier in 2020, we presented to him a plaque of his dad, Major Owens, that you see in the center there. Very touching moment, brought him to tears, brought all of us others to tears inside that day. But if you look to the right, we have some pretty cool dates that are coming up, and I want to run over those dates with you. We have the back to school event scheduled for Saturday, August 21st. We're trying to have it on Union Street, and to also join some open houses with the tenants on that day. You'll get to meet Eva Tayo, Digital Girl, Wydaka, and the other groups. Opening day is later this year in September. I don't have a pinpoint date yet, but it's going to be September. In terms of the affordable housing lottery on President Street, that starts very, very, very soon in June and goes through August. The lottery information session, the upcoming one will be in July. We'll send a date out to Dante so that you guys can watch it. We do have a link that we can share from the first workshop provided by the LDC. I can email that to Dante and he can share it with you guys. The building tours, which our marketing team and also Beverly and Unella will conduct this fall. We'll have to update you through Dante, maybe later this month or in July. The Brooklyn Plaza Medical Center is going to open up in 2022, 24/7 healthcare to the community. And then the building 3 at 1101 President Street, that's the larger tower. That lottery is going to launch later in 2021. And we'll give you more lottery information as time comes up. I did have another date here that I wrote down. if you guys know Delphine Fawundu, she lives in Ebbets Field, and she's our curator for the Armory. Really cool human being, love working with her. She's going to be our first exhibit in the Armory. That's going to be an exhibit with her photography, Richard Green's photography, and Jamel Shabazz's photography. So I just wanted to bring that to your attention. There are 2 jobs that are opening up, the director for the Armory and the director of operations. They're already out there in Workforce One World because of our agreement with Hire NYC. But after June 30th, we can release them through the Community Board 9 portal, which Dante said he would do. So just wanted to give you guys a heads up, and thank you so much for hearing us today. Thank you, Fred.
Okay, thank you very much for your presentation.
Okay.
We can entertain 2 questions. We have a very full agenda. We can entertain 2 questions. You can use the raise hand function. If you hit *9, that will raise your hand, and we can entertain 2. Okay, I'm not seeing any. Dante, Mia, Fleet, anyone see any hands? Okay, I do see Melanie Lewis. Go ahead.
Yeah, I see Melanie's.
Okay, go ahead, Melanie. So we'll have your question and we'll close on you.
Yes, well, thank you so much for sharing with us the varied, amazing things that are happening at the Armory. And nice to meet you in person, or I should say the virtual world. How is this information being disseminated to the surrounding community for them to be made aware? I mean, obviously we are on the CB9 meeting and we know that, you know, information I'm sure will be disseminated through us, but how is information being shared with the surrounding community as to
right
these
now,
amazing initiatives?
Sorry, thanks, Melanie, for that question. Right now, we're going to advertise on our website, which we're renewing. The website has a few tweaks and we're working with Squarespace, so we have to get that up and running at a higher level. And then most of our communication will go through Community Board 9 and maybe through local circulations once we start marketing. But as I said earlier, we have a couple tweaks to knock out before we can put that all in the public space.
Okay, Eric,
Okay,
thank you very much. Eric,
Thank you, Fred.
and team very much for coming with us this evening. You're always invited to come back if you have any additional updates with regards to the housing or the programming that you're doing at the major R. Owens Health and Wellness Community Center. Start calling it by its appropriate name.
Thank you, Fred.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
We are now going to move on in the agenda. We're going to go to item 3, applications to the New York State Liquor Authority. Do I have the chair of public safety on this evening?
Yes, you have the chair of public safety. I'm here. How are you, Fred? Good evening. Good evening, everybody.
Doing well. Good evening.
So we had one application that showed up to the last meeting of the year. Mr. Perlman, he's opening up a establishment on Troy Avenue. I believe it's going to be vegetarian and he's going to have alcohol. He applied for a liquor license. I'm going to ask him, he's here tonight to speak for a few minutes, just very briefly, what he's opening, the name of his establishment, how many hours of operation. And I guess we'll take a few minutes from the floor, questions from the floor if need be. And the committee voted unanimously to support his application, but let's hear from him directly. Mr. Perlman, are you here still?
Yes.
Please, the floor is yours.
So the name of the restaurant is going to be Buot, which is actually Hebrew for champagne or bubbles. It's going to be open from 8 a.m. to midnight. And it's going to be a 1930s, 40s style establishment with modern day food, like a mix up of Beyond Burger and Jewish food all together, like in a modern style in an olden day establishment. And any questions about it? I mean,
See how many people, what's your seating capacity?
it's going to have 11 seats, and we're going to apply for an outdoor you know, outdoor restaurant, cafe on the sidewalk. And
And we're talking Troy and Watts.
Troy and Eastern Parkway.
Troy and Eastern Park. All right, Fred, should we take some questions from the board?
Yes, we can take 2 questions.
Hi, good evening. Quick question for you. What's the exact address?
302 Troy.
Thank you.
Okay, are there any other questions?
I have one. This is Naomi Baptiste reporting. Hello, everyone on the call.
Hello.
I wanted to know if that is going to be right next to a pharmacy.
Yeah.
Okay, because I know that that's a real small space area. So how would that help with any traffic that comes through walking on the sidewalk?
Well, the corner spot next to the pharmacy is a wide open space. It's not regular sidewalk space. It has plenty of space, plenty of room over there.
And the reason why I asked is because there's a lot of people that stay over there, that be sitting over there, because there's a, I think there's a home over there. So I just wanted to know which, you know, how would that be able to help with the patrons that's eating at the restaurant, where they don't have that traffic while they're eating? That was just my concern.
But isn't Mr. Perlman, isn't the application now for the liquor license, you're gonna come back and ask for outdoor space?
Sorry, repeat that?
You're asking now for the liquor license, or you're also asking for outdoor space?
Just the liquor license.
You're asking now just for the liquor license, I believe. Right,
Yeah.
so this is something I think you have to come back for support for outdoor space. Right
Yeah,
now,
we-
it's just indoor, we're asking, you're just asking. You're just asking for the liquor license indoors, correct, at this point?
Correct, yes.
And, all right, so Fred, the committee unanimously voted to support, and obviously it's up now to the full board to vote.
Okay, thank you very much. So we will take up the matter when we reach the voting session during the business portion of the meeting. We are now going to move on to public comment period. Public comment period is a maximum of 30 minutes in duration. Speakers will be allowed up to 3 minutes to address the board and the community. The district office, do we have anyone who's registered to speak for this evening?
We have Mr. McDonald here from NHS Brooklyn.
Okay, we have Mr. McDonald. 1 second, as I establish the speakers list. Mr. McDonald will go first. Are there any other speakers who wish to address the board and the community this evening? I see Ms. Pinkerton. I see Martina Victoria. I see Esteban Giron. I see Darrell White. Are there any other speakers? I see Margaret Gabby. I see Alejandro Caraballo. Are there any names that I missed, or does the office team see anyone?
Nope. All I saw was everyone that you called.
Okay, so we'll begin with that. The time is now 7:34. The public commentary period will conclude at 8:04. Mia, do you have the timer ready?
Sure do.
Okay, I would remind everyone we have a very tight schedule, so we will ask you to make sure you conclude your remarks before the 3-minute period. Your mic will be muted after that. Okay, so we will begin the public comment with Mr. McDonald.
Yes, good evening, CB9. Thank you for allowing Neighborhood Housing Services to speak. My name is Tyrone McDonald. Before I introduce my colleague, Mr. Byron Todman, Program Manager of Home Improvement Department, who will speak on Neighborhood Housing Services Property Management Program, I just want to add that Neighborhood Housing Services is a housing ambassador, because I did see in the other presentation that there will be a lottery. So if anyone in the community have any questions about signing up for Housing Connect, any issues, so you can actually be prepared for the lottery, feel free to call our office at 718-469-4679. All right, because a lot of people may have some issues during COVID with technical issues and getting online or connection. Just want to make that. But without further ado, I'm going to bring up my colleague, Mr. Byron Todman, who's going to discuss Neighborhood Housing Services Property Management Program for small landlords. Byron, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Tyrone, and thank you very much, Community Board 9. I really appreciate the time this evening. Neighborhood Housing Services is a local not-for-profit located at 2806 Church Avenue, and we are very excited about our property management program. The goal of this program is to bring affordable, professional property management services to small landlords. And then covering the full gamut of services, rent collection, maintenance, tenant screening, rehab and repairs. If some of you are familiar with NHS and our business of preparing New Yorkers for buying their home, we see this as a natural extension of that business, helping fellow New Yorkers keep and maintain their home. Our director, Tanya Orez, has been looking at the situation over the years and thinks this is a critical piece that will enhance the services that we bring to Brooklyn. I'm going to put my contact information in the chat. If anyone have any questions and would like to contact us, I'll also put our website information. We are having a webinar on the 3rd Thursday of July, and you can register for more information at the webinar as well. Thank you for your time again.
Mr. Todman, send your information directly to the community board office.
Yeah, we did.
We did.
Okay, thank you.
We definitely did. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Next, we'll recognize Amy Pinkerton.
Sorry, hi, can you hear me? Am I on? Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, yes, we can hear you.
All right, very good. For those of you who don't know, I'm a board member, so I'll introduce myself that way. I just had a quick comment, hopefully, on board minutes and our agendas for the evening. So today I received the agenda for this evening at 11:15 a.m. and I noted in the text that it asked for any public input or commentary to be submitted to the board office by 12 noon, giving everybody 45 minutes to basically receive, read, and respond to that request. I don't really feel like it's fair public commentary. And also, I mentioned it at previous meetings. It's been on the agenda. I don't think it's been fully addressed. I will put it on the agenda today. Hopefully it will be discussed in future meetings. But we should serve the community better by not having boilerplate agendas. I was pleasantly surprised tonight to see the update on the community center. I didn't know that the Armory changed its name. I don't know how many public people are now on this meeting, knew that there's going to be a presentation updating us on the Armory opening. So, I mean, I think that's a missed opportunity. I don't understand why this could not be put on the agenda this evening as a specific talking point. I think the information was probably presented to the board at least a few days in advance of tonight's meeting. And again, maybe with the service committee that just spoke about their housing supportive organization. I don't know if they just sprung up in the public commentary speaking period, or if they said that they submitted their contact information to the board. I feel like this should be put in the agenda, so if people have it, they can reach out to them, and not like weeks later when the minutes become available. There's a disconnect. So I think that we can do a better job. We note the talking points that are going to be in the meeting. We have old business that we know we're going to discuss. It behooves us to add this to the agenda so the public who'd like to attend the meetings will know what we're talking about and maybe come a little bit prepared to join the conversation. Those are my comments. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Pinkerton. Next, we will recognize Martina Victoria.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, great. Good evening, everybody. My name is Martina, and I am a community resident who attended the meeting Monday on Zoom. And I want to thank everyone for the passionate testimonies about the monumental damage that would be created by the 960 Franklin development. I had actually signed up to speak that night, but there was some sort of glitch in the system. I'm not sure what happened, but my name was never called. So I want to thank you all for giving me the opportunity to speak tonight and to add my voice to the many voices. I may be redundant, but I believe that you can't speak the truth too many times. So the conversation that was had Monday address the lack of essential information regarding environmental impacts, racial impacts, and statistics about housing needs in our community. And without knowing or having these necessary components, it's impossible to consider the development seriously. The board and the community have not been given accurate and complete information regarding these vital issues. As well, there was a great deal of discussion Monday about the impact the shadows will cast on BBG, Jackie Robinson Playground, and the Medgar Evers College. Various speakers discussed the compromise of infrastructure, the increase of traffic, the havoc of garbage and general pollution, as well as 960 being a catalyst for further gentrification and displacement in our community. The developers' promotion of affordable housing is a falsehood that was laid bare that night as well. And we know that regardless whether the building is 34 or 39 stories, that the damage is going to be done and the difference will not save our green spaces. What we have here is nothing less than murder of green life and the demise of the ecosystems that thrive on those plants and trees, the birds, bugs, and bees that help pollinate and continue the possibility of life here. If we disturb the garden, the park, and the ecosystems that support us, we are also wreaking havoc on the physical and emotional well-being of people in general and children in particular. The children should be an active part of this discussion. In fact, it is their future that we are deciding. We are tearing apart our social fabric if we allow this development to move forward. If we've learned anything from this pandemic, it's the truth about the inextricable interconnectedness of one another and everything around us. Our green spaces are the lungs of our community. And last time I checked, breath is life. And if we destroy the lungs of Brooklyn, we are destroying ourselves. When we speak on behalf of the trees, we are speaking on behalf of ourselves. When we speak of the trees, we're speaking of our own survival and well-being. And remember how green spaces were the only place to go to.
I'm sorry, but we have to cut you off at this time. Thank you very much. At this time, we're going to recognize Esteban Jerome.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes, great. Hi, how's everybody doing? I'm Esteban Jerome. I serve on the ULURP committee of CB9. Tonight, the board is going to vote on 960 Franklin Avenue, and you're going to do so without an official recommendation from the ULURP committee. I'm here to say that I think that this sets a terrible precedent for both how land use applications are deliberated, as well as the role and ultimately the value of at-large community members like myself who serve on a committee without being on the board. The ULURP committee has done so much work on sorting through the mess that is this application. We prepared testimony for the scoping hearing 2 years ago. We sorted through thousands of pages of detailed documentation. We've sat through hours and hours and hours and hours of presentation and testimony. And this past Monday, as a committee member, we were each given 2 minutes to disseminate all that information to a total of 13 members of this board. The community made recommendations about how we wanted this hearing to be run. And I know that there's all sorts of legal aspects. I read through the transcripts from the court. I know that it's complicated. And I do appreciate how quickly the board office was able to get that going. It went really smoothly for what it was. Unfortunately, most of you weren't there to hear it. So having served on this committee for 5 years, we give everybody a chance to have their say. We absorb all of this highly technical data in order to be able to advise the board before you vote. We take that responsibility very seriously. The community board members on this committee will still get a vote, and those of us who aren't are essentially being told that after 2 years of work, our opinion and advice and analysis are a huge waste of time. So I urge you to reflect on a process in which the community board can make a decision without the ULURP committee's advice, and then that decision is then ignored by the council member. And that really makes you wonder, why are we even here? Thank you.
Thank you, Esteban. Next, we're going to recognize Darrell White.
Good evening, Mr. Chair. I might have jumped the gun. I'm here representing an elected official. Is that the other business, or and I don't want to take anyone else's time that would want this time that they have.
Right, that'll be next on the agenda. So we'll do acknowledgements and you'll have an opportunity at that time.
Gotcha.
Okay. All right, so we'll recognize you there. Next, we will recognize Margaret Gaby. My apologies if I mispronounce. Hello, Margaret Gaby. You're recognized to address the board. All right, it looks like Margaret might be having a technical issue. We'll come back. Next, we're going to go to Alejandra Carballo.
Thanks, Fred. I just want to echo what Esteban just said about the ULURP process. I'm the chair of the Housing Committee. We were basically given no warning that the TRO was lifted, and we had no time to reconvene the Housing Committee to give our official recommendation on the 960 Franklin rezoning. And so I can only give what my committee members have stated. When we reviewed the 960 Franklin rezoning application. And, you know, what I will say is, one, the amount of so-called affordable housing is not actually affordable for the people who live in this community. It's not adequate. It's grossly out of proportion. And I agree with what the ULURP proposed statement or resolution calls for, but I just want to also express my disappointment with this process, because we were basically given no time as a community board to really engage in this and give our formal votes on each committee's position to recommend to ULURP, and then ULURP give its formal recommendation. So I just want to express my disapproval with the process as it's gone so far. But I do want to thank the CB9 staff for running a flawless meeting on Monday on a very short time frame, and it was really well run given the circumstances. So I want to thank you all.
Okay, thank you, Alejandra. At this time, we are now going to recognize Primo Lasana.
Yeah, absolutely. I also see that Margaret is back with us, and so I would recommend going to her next. So yeah, I mean, a few things I'd love to address. I'd say, first of all, to Esteban's comments, correct, 13 members of the board is not enough, but I think the 13 members who were there, myself included, heard the resounding voice of the community, which was in opposition, strong opposition to this project. I would also say to, Alejandra and to Esteban that yes, the process was rushed. A lot of that done by the developers intentionally, it would seem. And we do have a proposed resolution in our inboxes from the ULURP committee. So I would like to name that as being a reality, and that if anybody on this board would like to review that proposed ULURP resolution, you should read your email, because it is sitting in your inbox from about an hour ago, and it is fairly strongly worded. And then, I also want to take a moment to address Amy Pinkerton's comments. I think that there is some truth inside of what Amy has said about maybe having more robust agendas, but I also would like to very clearly point out that we did have this agenda in our inboxes 5 days ago on the 18th. And so I know that there are a lot of communications going out from CB9, but the staff has been incredible and on top of it. And I think sometimes we take a little bit away from the work that goes into it, both from the leadership of this community board, the intent of this community board, the best intentions of this community board, and all of the communications that they're sending out, both to this group and to the community. And I want to applaud all of the leadership that volunteers to get this work done, and all of the staff that puts in so many hours to make sure that we are able to move the work forward. Because we can spend a lot of time in this group talking about how people are ineffective, but there are a lot of people who are incredibly effective, do show up all the time, and put in a lot of time, energy, and effort to making sure that we're able to move projects forward. Thank you.
Amen.
Much appreciated.
Thank you, Primo. I saw, well, actually, no, Margaret, are you?
Yeah, I'm here. My camera wasn't hooked up, and now it is.
Not a problem. We'll recognize you now.
Okay, thank you. So I submitted so I'm a Pratt Institute City Planning Master's student, and I'm actually working on this project for my master's thesis right now. I haven't really been around that much because it seemed to be a slow process. So kind of everything what everyone's saying, the process isn't working, and you don't really, they don't participate with the community much at all. Sorry? So what my solution was, it might not be in the capacity of a community board, but instead of having a developer always build a tower, or 2 towers in this case, I was thinking of developing Empire Boulevard, where the 1-story fast food restaurants are, and develop horizontally at 7 stories as opposed to 39 stories right now. So that was my idea, and they keep saying, no, you can't do that because of such and such. But I was wondering if anyone's interested in that alternative design as opposed to just fighting against, do we want it or do we not want it? So I guess it's not really question and answer, but I'm not sure how the ULURP resolution says. It probably says that you need affordable housing no matter what, because it's a Black area, which they always say, no matter how much housing they need. They have certain kinds of recommendations they kind of say without the community's input. And that's what my professors tell me. They're like, well, we need a community garden, we need affordable housing. And so I'm proposing something completely different in that, and hopefully it can make a difference in the city overall.
Okay, thank you for, I'm sorry, were you done? Okay, well, thank you for your comments.
I am done, yeah.
Okay, all right. Melanie Lewis, I saw your hand up earlier. I'm not sure, did you want to speak?
Yeah, Primo actually answered all of those questions, so thank you so much. It's much appreciated.
Okay, thank you very much. Are there any other speakers for public commentary? Okay, with that, we will now close public commentary. I thank all the speakers for the viewpoints shared with the board. Some of the issues I hope will be addressed as well in subsequent reports from the board and for myself as well with regards to the ULURP process. From Ms. Gabby, I would encourage you to definitely stay in contact with the board. Please feel free to attend the ULURP meetings or have a conversation with myself with the ULURP chair once the chair is established. To understand the process and to see if there are any ways that you could provide input or learn more about the process as well. We are now going to go on to acknowledgements. So for acknowledgements, if we have any elected officials, we will definitely grant you 2 minutes to address the board and the community. If you are a representative we would ask that you please limit the remarks to approximately 1 minute. And again, I apologize. We are definitely under time pressure today because we do have a packed agenda. Mia, Dante, Khalid, are there any representatives here with us this evening? Or electeds, I should say, too.
We have Ricardo Newball from the Borough President's Office and Mr. White from the Attorney General.
Okay. Well, hold on. Ricardo, if you could go.
Good evening, good evening, Board 9. I would like to wish everybody a good evening. I would just like to say that Borough Hall is having a ULURP meeting Tuesday, June 29th at 5 p.m. via WebEx. It is open to the public. I sent Mia the information and she will be sending the flyer around, but if you would like to take down the event number and the password, I will give it out now. The event number is 173-736-6087, and the password is ULURP. Please feel free to join. Whoever feels like they have any sort of comments or stake or thoughts on this, please make sure you join and make yourself heard. Have a good night and have a great summer, everybody. I look forward to working with you in the next year.
Thank you, Ricardo. If I could just ask one question, what platform is the hearing going to be held on?
It will be held on WebEx, via WebEx, Mr. Chair.
Okay. Thank you very much. And again, that information will be with the district office and that will be distributed to the community as well. All right, next we want to recognize Mr. White. Are you still with us? I know that you said, you had started before, but now is your time to shine.
Appreciate that, Mr. Chair. Thank you so much. Good evening, Community Board 9, executive members, and the membership at large. My name is Darrell White, and I'm from the New York State Attorney General's office of Letitia James. And we are pushing our Protecting Our Community initiative where you can call into the office on Tuesdays and Thursdays from 9 to 1. And if there are any issues regarding consumer issues, identity theft issues, credit card debit fraud issues, fake charity issues, COVID-19 still scams, senior issues targeting the elderly, senior scams, the fake checks, whatever they come in, and working rights issues, minimum wage issues, working place conditions, civil rights issues, whether it's housing, employment, environmental issues. I know I'm speaking fast. I only have 3 minutes. I would love to slow this down and do a whole presentation, but I get it. And unfortunately, it's the last meeting before you guys break. But we are open in a sense, right? The office, of course, is closed. The physical office is closed, but our website, www.ag.ny.gov, and our office number at 55 Hanson Place is 718-560-2040. My name again is Darrell White. I'm the outreach coordinator for the Brooklyn Queens Regional Office. And I will send all of this information, Mr. Chair, to the community board. Also, just right quick, this is a senior, smart senior booklet where it has all the information regarding the different kind of scams that are going on, the grandparent scam, the sweepstakes scam, the charity scam, and things of that nature, where we can come to virtually to the senior center and do a virtual smart senior presentation. And I think I might have sent some of that information to the district board. But if I haven't, please let me know and I will send either the booklets and again, my information. So this way, if there's any seniors on this meeting tonight, that if they needed the Attorney General's office to come and do a presentation regarding smart seniors, we would be more than happy to do that. And with that, Mr. Chair, I'll leave it right there.
Thank you very much, Mr. White. Welcome, welcome, and please give our best regards to the Attorney General, who used to be our council member as well. So very deep roots here in CB9. Thank you very much. Are there any other elected officials at this time, Mia, or Dante, or Khalid? Okay, seeing none, we are now going to move to the business session. Madam Secretary. Alejandra, are you there?
Yeah, can you give me just one? I was out of my apartment and I'm switching back to my computer in my apartment.
You got it. Well, we can hear you now. Are you able to call the roll?
Give me just 1 minute, I'll be able to call it.
Okay. All right, while the secretary is getting ready, I would also like to advise new appointments have been made. So reappointments and appointments have been made as of the end of May. So the board is slightly reconfigured. We do have several new members who are here with us this evening. So you will hear some new names as we call the roll this evening. To the new members, I want to welcome you to Community Board 9. I'm excited to have you here. We as a board have come a long way. There's a lot of work to be done, and we are looking forward to working with you. And as we continue to improve as a board, to increase advocacy for the community, to expand our outreach, and always make sure that CB9 is getting everything it deserves with regards to service delivery and advocacy.
All right, I'm ready. Apologies for that.
Tap dance done.
Perfect timing. Okay, so everyone be ready to unmute yourselves when I call your name, especially for new members who haven't done this before. Just be ready to say yes or present or I when your name is called. And if you're a new member and I mess up your name, please correct me. It will be my first time reading some of your names, and I want to try my best to make sure I do it so correctly. Kyrie Aline. Kyrie Aline. Nicholas Almanor.
Present.
Stuart Ballberg.
Hello, I was here. Okay.
Stuart Ballberg.
Alejandra Kyrie unmuted himself.
Okay.
Yes, I thought I heard Kyrie. Hi, Alejandra. I was like, what did she say, Kyrie? I'm sitting right here. Yes.
All right, thank you so much. I got you down as present. Stuart,
Thank you.
on Stuart Ballberg. Fred Baptiste.
Present.
Naomi Baptiste.
Present.
Rabbi Yaakov Berman.
I am here. Thank you.
John Beckles Jr. John Beckles Jr. Warren Burke.
Here.
Augustine Blackwell.
Present.
Alejandra Caraballo present. Suki Chong.
Present.
Verlene Dozier. Verlene Dozier. Rosemary Evering. Rosemary Evering. Tessa Hackett Vieira.
Here.
Bishop Silvana Hamilton Gonzalez.
Here.
Shlomo Zalman Hecht.
Here.
Primo Lasana.
Here.
Mina Lagute,
Here.
Francisca Leopold,
Here.
Nolan Levinson,
Here. Yeah, my camera's up. Yeah, baby.
Melanie Lewis,
Present.
Matthias Limburger,
Here.
Christian LeBeau,
Present.
Menachem Margolin, Menachem Margolin, Robert Mitchell, Robert Mitchell.
That name should be removed from the roster.
Okay, sorry, I'm calling from the updated one. Apologies. Sorry about that. Carmen Martinez. Carmen Martinez. Vivian Morgan. Vivian Morgan. Pat Moses.
Here.
Beverly Newsom.
Here.
Yankee Pearson. Yankee Pearson. Riel Peerboons.
Here.
Amy Pinkerton.
Here.
Unella Rome Perry.
Present.
Dexter Roberts.
Present.
Dexter. Okay, thank you. Felice Robertson. Felice Robertson. Mary Rollerson Blackett. Mary Rollerson Blackett. Desma Ross. Desma Ross. Melissa Sevier.
Present.
Rashida Sadiq.
Here.
Shanina Sperlin. Shanina Sperlin. Rashida Sykes. Rashida Sykes. Debbie Timothy.
Present.
Linda Watson Lord.
Present.
Evelyn Williams.
Present.
Thank you. Evelyn Williams. Evelyn Williams. Lorianne
She's
Wolf.
there. She's there, but she's there. She's muted.
Okay, thank you. I'll mark her down as present. Lorianne Wolseley.
Present.
Cheryl Wright.
Present.
Okay. I will call out anybody that was not present in the initial call. I'm going to call it once, so please listen up. Stuart Ballberg. John Beckles Jr. Verlene Dozier. Rosemary Evering. Menachem Margolin.
Alejandro, it's Warren. I think he is not on the board anymore.
Okay, Menachem? Or who were you referring to?
Mendy Margulies.
Okay. I will remove them from the roll.
Thank you.
Carmen Martinez. Vivian Morgan. Yankee Pearson. Felice Robertson. Mary Rollerson Blackett. Desma Ross. Shanina Sperlin. Rashida Sykes. Okay. Chair, there are 32 present.
Thank you very much. For the record, we have 32 members present. We have a quorum. We are going to go on to our next item of business, the approval of the minutes. The minutes have been sent out to all the board members as part of the, oh, I'm sorry, can you hear me?
Chair, there are 12 absent, 32 present, 12 absent out of our total 44.
Thank you very much. Okay, so we're going to move on to our next item of business, the approval of the minutes. At this time, are there any corrections that need to be made to the minutes?
Hello, yes, there are a couple.
Okay, what are the corrections that need to be made?
On the copies that I saw on the attachment sent today, April seems to be missing some pages. I only had one page for April.
That was the correction, Ms. Pinkerton. If you look at the email that was sent out this morning, the reminder in the initial email, the correction was only on the first page with the SLA applicants.
So you didn't send the whole agenda in one packet?
No, that's not the
All right,
agenda.
fine. If you didn't do it, you didn't do it.
Hold on.
Okay.
Warren, can you clarify and confirm Mr. Margolin is no longer on the board? Was he not renewed? Because I don't know that he's aware of that.
No, I don't know, but I believe he was, but we'll check it. For the purpose of this meeting, it doesn't matter, but I will get back to you tomorrow.
All right, just make sure we have accurate data, please.
I
Okay,
just wanted
thank
to
you.
very briefly clarify the correction for April 2021. It was a correction noted by Melanie Lewis. It was just for the SLA applicants. Nothing else was to be corrected, and that appeared on the first page. And that is why it's noted in the email.
All right, and then there's another one. I don't think it's the April one. I think it's the May one regarding an entry for me regarding the affidavit. I think it should state it's a affidavit from William Wallace, the representative.
Excuse me, who's speaking? You didn't identify yourself?
Oh, I'm sorry, Amy Pinkerton.
Thank you.
So Mia, maybe you can confirm maybe it's the May minutes where it's the entry regarding something that attributed to me. I had brought up in the public comment period that we should have this on the agenda. The affidavit that was circulated, an affidavit from William Wallace, the fourth, I guess.
Understood. I will touch base with Nolan, who took the minutes for last meeting, and converse with him and have the corrected minutes when we return in September.
Okay, should I speak to Nolan then about?
No, I'll speak to Nolan and we will correct the minutes. Thank you.
Okay, are there any other
Oh,
corrections?
and just, maybe this is April, I'm sorry, I was just checking my notes. There's one, I think it's the April one, where you have people who, I guess, spoke at the public commentary. You only have their first names. I think maybe as a best practice, we should try to get somebody's full name, because it just doesn't seem correct only to have Elizabeth or Robert or something like that on the minutes.
It doesn't have to be minutes of public commentary. It's public commentary.
All right, I just thought it was a best practice, those names really kind of just are not meaningful.
We'll discuss that. We'll discuss that. That'll be discussed by the district office. All right, thank you for those. Are there any corrections to be made to the minutes? Seeing none, except for those items noted, which will be verified, the minutes stand approved as submitted. At this time, we're going to move on to committee reports. I believe a number of the committee reports have already been submitted by the chairs. In the interest of time, as we do have a very full agenda this evening, I would ask the chairs, if you've already submitted your reports, unless there are action items, you defer for this evening. So we can get to the two primary items. Are there any chairs that have an urgent item they need to discuss, or if they have action items that they need for the board to consider this evening?
This is Pat Mosley. I just want to make one correction. I just have a problem with Ms. Pinkerton, who never reads, doesn't attend meetings, always got something negative to say. I just want to say that in terms of the presentation that was given today, that presentation was given to the ULUP committee, and we voted to bring it forward to the entire board so that you could hear basically what we hear, because they wanted a recommendation from us. Thank you.
In regard to that one ULUP item, it was voted on by the committee to bring it to the board. We've done some additional inquiries. The primary reason why they had come before the ULUP was to present to the public with respect to the changes they were making in that rooftop garden. Because the center is on public land, there's a requirement for them to do that. So they've done so at the ULUP meeting, and they've done so tonight. We will be administratively just issuing a letter of acknowledgement that they were here. Otherwise, there are no other action items for the board with respect to that presentation today. Okay. Are there any other chairs, any other committees that need to, that have an action item that they need to bring before the board at this time? Okay, seeing none. The one comment I will make is, as the last meeting, I do want to thank all of the chairs and all of the committees for the hard work you've done this year. Despite the pandemic, this board has still been productive. It's been, it's been addressing issues. It's been, convening. It's been, conducting outreach and everything else. So I just want to thank everyone for all the hard work that you've done this year. We are going to go, at this time, I will request the nominations chair, the nomination committee chair, to please address the board with regards to the elections for this evening.
Thanks, Fred. Excited to elect some of our incoming leaders for the community board for the coming year. It's been a pleasure going through this process, getting in contact with each one of you on this board to make sure that we could nominate some great members. For those of you who are new to the community board, I feel like it might be helpful just to give a brief little overview of kind of this process. So I'll just say 30 seconds. Every year we nominate a kind of executive committee of community board members to serve on the community board. So we have a chair of the community board, that's Fred right now. We have a vice chair, right? We have other elected positions like secretary, treasurer, executive secretary, treasurer, et cetera. And you have to serve on the board for at least 1 year to be nominated to these positions, which is why none of you are kind of the new members are being nominated to these positions, but hopefully you will be next year. And we run a process where we reach out to every single community board member and ask them about their interest in running for certain positions. This is the culmination of that process where we now present those nominees who are going to be running for positions, and we are going to vote on those positions using a Google form electronically here. I know that that's a slight shift from what we did last year. So speaking to the entire community board, what we did last year was we used SurveyMonkey. This year we ran into a problem where SurveyMonkey would not allow us to use more than 40 members who could vote on that form. So we had to switch to Google Forms because this year we have over 40 community board members, which was not the case last year when we voted. We've kind of tested the security, everything like that of the voting form, and it is strong and solid. And so I'd like to do a few things just with my kind of remaining time here. And those few things are to put a motion on the floor. And that motion is that since we have 2 members at large The bylaws of the community boards state that you have to win a majority of votes in order to be elected to a position. Our form will allow everyone to vote twice for member at large, but since there's about 6 or 7 people running for that position, there is a relatively high likelihood that somebody will not win a majority vote. What I am suggesting is that what we do is, then the motion on the floor would be that we allow a runoff for the top 3 elected positions, top 3 members who are voted in as member at large, should there not be a majority. And then we would have the 2 winners become the 2 members at large. And so that's the proposal that I'm putting on the floor. I know it was wordy, but it is to do a runoff between the top 3 people who run for member at large into a runoff, should that be necessary.
I second the motion. Tessa Hackett Vera. Second the motion. Tessa Hackett Vera, CB member and member of the nominations committee.
Thank you, Tessa.
You're saying that you should limit the runoff to the top winners?
The top 3, yes, the top 3 for member at large in particular, only for that role. Everything else is not going to have a majority conflict.
So Fred, I have 2 questions for you, if you don't mind. Number 1 is, maybe I misheard, and I've been very busy lately. The nominations were presented last month, correct?
That's correct, and I can present them again.
All right, because you said it was presented this month. So you presented the nominations last month, and now we have the option to vote on those nominations or write in a candidate. Now you're suggesting that we have a runoff. We limit the runoff to the top 3, and how does that help us?
So there needs to be a majority vote.
I got that.
Okay, so how does it help us? It helps us if there are 3 candidates, there will be we'll bring the top 2 majority winners, will win the position of member at large.
You establish a cutoff. So essentially you're establishing a cutoff. So the top 3 qualifiers will go on to a final ballot if no one has achieved it.
And typically, I don't remember the bylaws, Fred, the way it's supposed to do it, the bylaws do not discuss a formula for a runoff, right?
They do not.
So that's why we're putting the motion on the floor.
Correct.
I'm trying to, what have we done in the past, Fred, when we had runoffs? Because we've had runoffs.
I'm trying to remember what we've done with runoffs. I think typically, we've had majority votes most times. I don't remember.
No, we definitely went for round 2 on.
Hi, it's Warren.
Yep.
Yakov, we always had the runoff, and we always set limits on who was going to partake in the runoffs.
You're saying this is what he's proposing. You're saying this is what we've done in the past.
Correct, and it's correct.
No,
per the
it's not.
bylaws.
Yakov is correct. It's always been a second round.
There is a second round.
That's exactly what I'm suggesting.
Yes.
This is not negating a second round. It's establishing the cutoff to make it into the second round.
Correct.
So out of the 6 top 3 vote getters go into the final round for that.
For the 2
so
seats.
you're saying you're eliminating the lower.
Correct.
Yes.
I got you.
Correct.
Yeah. Thank you for the clarifying question. But yes, we are proposing a second round specifically for the member at large position, in which the top 3 vote getters go into a second round.
Well, Fred, obviously that's okay, right? There's no problem with that, right?
No, there's no issues.
Yakov, it's per the bylaws.
And we discussed this with Fred earlier this week, just to be
Great.
clear.
Perfect.
Actually, you need to vote on the motion on the floor.
That's right.
That's correct.
Okay. All right. So unless there are any objections, we're going to call the question. We'll do a voice vote. All in favor, please say aye.
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 Are there any opposed?
Aye.
Are there any opposed? All opposed, please say no or nay. Are there any abstentions? Okay, Madam Secretary, please note for the record, the motion passed with unanimous consent.
Thank you, everyone. Appreciate that very civil vote and everyone's great questions. So moving forward, a few little things that I'd love to do here before we get to the actual voting portion. I'm going to present, if I could get screen sharing permission, that would be really great, just so I could show the current nominations for positions. Someone could make me co-host, that would be excellent. I am now the co-host, great. All right. So what you should see on your screen at this point are the current nominations for positions. For the role of chairperson, we have Fred Baptiste. For the first vice chair position, we have Warren Burke running unopposed for both positions. For second vice chair, we have Francisca Leopold also running unopposed. For executive secretary, we have Alejandra Carballo running unopposed. For treasurer, we have Dexter Roberts running unopposed. And then for the member at large positions, of which we have 2, and we just passed a motion on, we have 6 current candidates: Nicholas Almanor, Amy Pinkerton, Melanie Lewis, Mary Rollerson Blackett, Linda Watson Lord, and Evelyn Williams. So those are the current nominations for positions. What I'd like to do at this point, with the chair's permission, is to offer each one of the nominees 1 minute to...
Nicholas hasn't been on the board for a year.
I believe Nicholas has, did somebody just say that Nicholas has not been on the board for a year? Is that correct, incorrect?
Yeah, that might be true.
True.
Yeah, that might be true.
It is true.
Is
That might be true.
Can somebody on the staff maybe confirm?
Hi, it's Warren. I believe this is year 2 of Nicholas. He was appointed last May. And he was so this is his 2nd year.
Can I just ask Mia and the office staff to confirm the month of that appointment? In the meantime, what we'll do is we'll give them a few minutes to do that. I think we can start at the chairperson position and give each member 1 minute to speak to why they are running for this position and their qualifications and their experience around it. Does that feel fair to everybody? And then we'll determine Nicholas's eligibility in the meantime.
And it's because, so they're they're running on a poll. What's the purpose of hearing from them, really?
Because we're interesting.
Because everybody has a...
We have all night, I forgot. We have all night. Take your time, guys, please. Take your time.
To hear from the next leaders of your community board.
Yeah, and I think more importantly, especially as we do have new members, I think they should kind of hear that as well as the members of the public in terms of why we're interested in running for the positions.
I think that's a great point, Fred. We have new community board members here, so they can hear from their future leaders. Fred, I will turn it over to you as the first person on this list, and I'm going to stop sharing so that we can see everyone's faces more clearly.
Sure, absolutely. Thank you very much. And I'll try and make sure I stay under the 60 seconds. My name is Fred Baptiste. I currently serve as the chair of CB9. I'm currently in my 2nd year in the position. I've been a member of the board for approximately 9 years. And the reason why I'm running is because I believe in this board, I believe in this district, and I believe it's my responsibility to be of service in any way I can. It's been my honor and privilege to be able to serve. I think we've accomplished so much, and I'm so proud of this board. I can say I've been here not as long as some, but long enough to remember darker days in terms of where we had our challenges. But I'm happy to say that I think we've experienced change over the last couple of years, where I think we are doing things better, not perfect, but we're better. And I think we've made the commitment to improve even upon that. So I am running for chair to hopefully continue that trajectory, to make sure that we're advocating for our community, to make sure that we're doing everything we can to make sure that our community gets all the services that they are supposed to get as residents of this district. I thank you in advance. I humbly request your vote. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Fred, and thank you for staying under 1 minute. Very much appreciated, and I'm sure that Jakob appreciates it too. Let's move over to our second candidate, Warren Burke.
Hi, everybody. I'm really running because I have a lot of gratitude. I've been on this board for about 6 or 8 years, as long as Fred. And I have never seen a more productive, proactive board. And it'll be a pleasure to be part of the leadership. Our office team, after many years of struggling, is just excellent. Our committee chairs are knowledgeable. They know what they're doing. Obviously, our leadership is great. No, I'm just kidding. But more importantly, the whole thing about the board, I have not seen a better group of independent thinkers and more proactive people and more people who are concerned. And it would just be a pleasure to be part of the leadership for this total board. Thank you.
Thank you, Warren. Up next, she's already.
Primo, before you go, I just wanted to confirm that Nicholas Almanor is good to go. He was reappointed, so it would have been March. He was reappointed, so this is year 2.
Fantastic. Thank you for confirming that, Dante.
Thank you.
I have a question. He wasn't reappointed. I thought he came in the midterm of someone else's appointment. And I have that list. He came in, and he might have came in May, but it was on someone else's appointment. He came in midterm.
Is he here? Maybe he wants to clarify. Maybe he remembers.
Nick.
I'll try to find the list because I have it.
No, I can clarify that. Every year when they appoint members, they appoint midterm members. So the date of their appointment is the same, i.e. around May. But what they're saying, they have to be reappointed the following year.
The question was, Warren, if he was on the board for a year.
Yes.
People have.
Yes, he's been on the board for a year. I've been working with him all year.
Great, you answered the question.
He became chair of the Parks Committee. So I have been working with Nicholas since September.
Beautiful.
Thank you.
Thanks all. Francisca, I'm sorry that we ruined your moment.
That's fine. Hi, good evening, everyone. My name is Francisca Leopold. I will try my best to stay under 1 minute. I've served on the board for almost 7 years. I serve as chair for the Health and Social Service Committee, and 2 terms as second vice chair. And the question, I know initially they asked the reason why, you're interested in being, and for me, it's love of my community, and love of working with the members on the board. As someone have said, we go through so much on the board, and I think that the work that the board members that they put out there is not appreciated. And then but I'm working with a set of lovely people, and when it comes to me, healthcare is very important for me in the community, and I work very closely with Kings County Hospital and as well as One Brooklyn, and to make sure that the things that are needed, that I have the leverage that I'm able to connect with persons who are able to help in the health disparity of our community. So I look forward to working with the new members who have just come in, and the old members who are there. And we've had a trying year last year, and then we made it through. We are here now, and I'm just hoping that, thank you in advance anyway for your vote, and I'm looking forward for us to work together. We are different persons, we have different ideas, we have different temperament, but at the end of the day, I'm hoping that each one of us have the same goal to make things better in our community. So thank you very much.
Very well. Up next, Alejandra Caraballo for Executive Secretary.
So I just want to highlight some of the stuff that I've been able to do this year. I've been very, very, very fortunate to chair the search committee for the council, for the district manager. And we were able to have a district manager hired, which I feel is one of my greatest accomplishments, to be able to shepherd through that process after 5 years of not having a district manager. And Dante has hit the ground running and done a fantastic job so far. And so, I just want to thank, every member of the community board that's made this year work, in spite of the pandemic. And, everybody has done just such a fantastic job adapting and being able to make this community board work. 2 years ago, when I first joined, we had an election that didn't end with any officers being elected. We didn't have a chair elected. It was complete chaos. And today I see a community board that is really functioning well, cohesive, and has really good relationships among the community board members. And I credit that to the chair, Fred Baptiste, who has done just a wonderful job being chair for these last 2 years. It is a complete night and day from when I started here 2 years ago. So, I've been very, very blessed and fortunate to serve as secretary for the last year. And I ask you all to let me serve for another year. Thank you.
Kudos to you for all that you have done over the course of this year. We're lucky to have you. Up next, a new treasurer enters the room. Dexter Roberts. I see that you've got a very nice jacket on. We'd love to hear from you.
Great, good night. My name is Dexter Roberts. And Edmund Burke said, bad things happen when good people sit by and do nothing. With that being said, I actually put my name up for community board. Lo and behold, there were no one running for treasurer, and I felt I should just, fill the gap. When I say fill the gap, I'm not one who will just sit by and be a mannequin. I have great experience. I have great leadership. I have served 2 terms as president of McIvers College Student Government Association. I have served as a vice chair of disability affairs for the University Student Senate for 25 campuses. And last year, I was a vice chair for graduate affairs for the University Student Senate. Therefore, under my administration, I had the opportunity of being a steward of $800,000. And on one occasion, I had 200,000, one occasion 300,000. And each year that I was a steward, being the chair, you are the steward over the treasurer. So it means that I have to guide them along the line that they would not mismanage money. And I did a great job. If I can manage my own finances personally, I have no credit card debts, I own nothing. It means that I could be the treasurer of the community board. Nines, I ask you, with that being said, to give me the opportunity to serve you 1 year. If I fail within this year, I give you the prerogative next year to bump me out. Thank you so much.
Dexter Roberts for president, huh? What a background. All right, so up next, we are going to invite the members at large. And this is a hotly contested race. So the first person that we'll invite up is the very eligible Nicholas Almanor.
Thank you, everyone. I welcome this opportunity to serve further on the board. I've been watching this board since Dr. Malcolm Mason was the chair. So I've been watching this board for a long time and been through all the trial and tribulation that I've gone to and watch it and felt I must come in and contribute. It took me a couple of years to get onto the board because I applied 2 or 3 times until I finally got in. My background, I'm a retired science teacher. I started in politics at Brooklyn College Student Government, where I was chair of committees. And also I have some background in SSU Local 371, where I initiated the Caribbean Heritage Celebration over 10 years ago. So being a resident of this district, and specifically Prospect Lefferts Garden, we felt that within this board, not too much attention being paid for. I think by being a member at large, I will get a greater view of what's happening in the board and put in my contribution. Thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you very much, Nicholas. Up next, we have Amy Pinkerton. Amy, the floor is yours. Is Amy with us? She was definitely here before. Amy, just sending out a call. I'm clicking through the names to see if you're here. Definitely want to give you the opportunity to represent yourself. I do not see Amy in the room. We will come back around and see if she has returned to us by the end. But up next, Melanie Lewis.
Well, good evening, community. I actually stepped up to the plate because we had our very own Dexter Roberts who decided to move ahead as treasurer. So I figured if there's a need, I would serve. And that was the reason that I decided to step up. And I do see there are many other applicants, and certainly I want to vouch for Nick to definitely be in that running. I gotta say that. But I will say, as a person, I was born and raised in Crown Heights as a product of the Crown Heights Youth Collective. Served as an advisory board member for Repair the World Brooklyn, which is a Jewish service organization in our community. I did that for over 5 years. I also have been very active with the Brooklyn NAACP and executive committee membership, and also served on membership at large there. I also work in higher education and have proudly served on our education and library committee over this past year. So, again, as I said, I stepped up to the plate to serve a need. I was born and raised in this community. I certainly have seen the changes that have evolved, and I've joined the board so I can be a part of the change that was necessary. But certainly, again, I want to highlight Nick because he has gone to every community, every committee meeting that we've had, and so we got to make sure he's in there. That's all I have to say for now. But thank you so much for the time.
Thank you, Melanie. Sounds like we have a coalition building here. I also see that Amy Pinkerton has made it back. She must have heard me speaking her name. Amy, we skipped over you because you were absent for a second there, but we would like to invite you to speak on your own behalf. We're giving everybody 1 minute for their election speech, and the floor is now yours, Amy.
Hi, thank you, Primo. I did send an email to Tess. I wasn't certain who to send it to on Monday. I no longer want to be considered. I just don't have the time to spend in the role, and I concur with Melanie, and Mr. Amadar is certainly an active member of the community, and I think that people of that nature should be part of the board. But thank you for the opportunity to speak, but I no longer want to be considered. Thank you.
Thank you, Amy. Appreciate that. I'm not sure if we can remove your name from the ballot, but I'm sure that everything that has been said here is service enough to that idea. Up next, Mary Rollerson Blackett, who is a highly esteemed community member as well. Mary, the floor is yours. Are you with us to speak?
I believe she's absent.
Understood. Okay. Next, we'll move on then to Linda Watson Lord. Linda, who I've known for a long time.
Yes. Good night, members of CB9. My name is Linda Watson Lord, and I'm currently a member of the Youth Services Committee, but one that I'm very, very happy to give total support, as that speaks to the future of the generations in our community. Serving the youth and young adults is more than just a servitude attitude to me. It's a ministry and a mission of which I usually say I live. I'm employed by the Consulate General of Barbados at New York as the Cultural and Community Affairs Officer, a position I've held for 16 years. And it's a job I love more than just going to work. I'm tasked to be the link and to take care of the needs of Barbadians living in 16 states in this USA. And that is a big task. Before then, I served as director of my diocese for the youth ministry. I'm a bookkeeper by profession, and I was just about to move up to the treasurer's position when Mr. Derek speak up before me, and I said, good, I'll support him, no problem. I'm new to this thing, to the board. I have served on many communities in many committees in this community Barbadian communities, church communities, youth communities. I'm a hands-on. You can call me anytime. I listen carefully before I jump in. I seldom criticize unless I understand exactly what is happening. And even sometimes if I don't understand what's happening, I go and I read all the history of it, like the 960 project. I can tell you, I research it a lot, so I really have my own ideas about it. I've lived in the Crown Heights area for over 25 years. My husband is a banker by profession. We parent 4 children, 2 lovely young men and 2 fantastic young ladies. They're all grown and they're all lived out on their own. We've got 4 grandchildren. To me, it is a real opportunity to serve my community that has contributed a lot to the upbringing of my children right here on Sullivan Place. And so I ask this board to give me your vote. You will not be disappointed in me. And I know I do have a lot to offer. Thank you. Blessings.
Thank you very much, Linda. And our last member at large position is being run for by Evelyn Williams. Is Evelyn Williams with us tonight? And would you like to speak on your behalf? Go ahead, Evelyn. Evelyn, I believe you're on mute. I will ask you to unmute. I see you here. You just have to press the little red button towards the bottom left-hand corner.
Unmute.
There you are. Great.
Can you hear me? Can you see me?
Yes, we can hear you and we can see you.
Good evening, everyone. Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Good evening, Mrs. Williams.
Good evening.
Good evening.
I bring you the joy and the atmosphere and the progress of Community Board 9, living in Community Board 9 for over, won't say how many years, but since the 70s. I have been on this community board since the early 70s. I have served on almost every committee. My reason for this is that as a community person, you don't just work on the community that you're serving. I have run youth services with Mr. Richard Green. I heard someone mention him before. I have worked with the Crown Heights Mediation Center. I have done play streets through the mayor's office, where I run play streets every year from September, July to August. I have done housing committee. I have taken courses with HPD just to learn what the community need. I have been a precinct council president for over 30 years. And most of all, I have been the self-made mayor of all the activities that happen in Crown Heights, because right now, I could tell you that through the Community Board 9 and other organizations, I was really successful a year and a half ago to obtain a 71 unit building where 79 tenants are now paying $2,500 to buy their apartment and paying under the area medium income to support their apartment. We are still fighting, and this was why I take all these courses, but when you can work as a community person, not just in this building. I was upstairs sick on Saturday when a politician have a block party on our block without telling us that they were coming on the block to smoke the block. We have drugs on the block. We don't need party. We need cameras and we need people working together to prevent the shootings and all the things that are happening here. And on my block, they call me the 71st precinct, the policewoman, but I would go from here, I'd go from here to the Bronx, to Manhattan. I challenge all the politicians when they don't do right. And I challenge my community people when they don't do right. And I'm saying being a member of Community Board 9 has made me from a non-speaking person to a person who talks too much. And I do a lot. I do a lot. And I'm saying tonight, My health is not the best, but I'm still working. I am here with you guys. If you vote for me, as I would like, so I can continue what I'm doing, I will love you and I will thank you. If you vote for someone else, I am willing to also work with the board, with whoever you board for the community, because this is not about me. It's not about making excuse. It's not about criticism. It's about working together for the good and welfare and the betterment and progress for our communities. I am here willing, ready, and able to work with anyone. And hopefully that you will give me your vote so I can continue this lovely and extensive job that I've been doing. Thank you so much.
Ms. Williams, thank you for bringing us home. There couldn't have been a better speaker to close us out. Thank you for your service to the community over many years. And we're grateful for everybody who is running this year. I know that we just finished up an election in New York City, or we're almost done. We'll see next week. But I want to thank everyone for participating in a democratic and hyper-local process. And I want to thank everybody who served on the nominations committee, and to the board chair for walking us through this process, and to the office staff for supporting us through this process. Our work is not done. It is very much almost done. And so the last steps in this process are going to be for us to vote. Everybody has in their inbox an electronic ballot that says the title is Electronic Ballot for Community Board 9 Executive Officer Elections. At the very bottom of that email, you will see a link. You will also see a picture that you can click on. Once you click on that, you'll be taken to a form that asks you for your email, your last name, your first name, and then you fill out the ballot. I think it's very important to note that the last ballot question says that you can select up to 2 candidates, or you can write in up to 2 candidates. You also have the option to write in somebody should you choose to do that on any of the given questions. Fred, tell me if I'm wrong, but I think this is a form that takes about 2 minutes to fill out. Maybe it would be fair to give everyone until 9 o'clock to complete the ballot, 8 minutes. And then at that point, we will begin to count the ballots. How does that sound, Fred?
That's fine. As a matter of fact, we can probably run that process concurrently. We can continue on in the agenda. I would just ask the board members, while we're moving on, please take some time to do that. If there are any board members, now, if there are any board members who have issues with accessing the ballot, please raise your hand so that way, we can address that and we can make sure we can record your vote.
Where's my hand?
Who's having an issue?
Ms. Bishop?
Yes. Can you explain to me, come on, baby, how do I do this ballot?
Yes, we can work with you in a breakout room over the course of the next few minutes. Khalid and I will work with you in a breakout room. We're going to invite you to one, and we'll walk you through the voting process, okay?
No problem.
Perfect.
What about the people that's been eliminated?
So
There are 2 people?
only one person, Amy Pinkerton, has removed herself from contention. We have confirmed that Nicholas is absolutely valid to run for a position. That's it at this point.
Right. So
And
when
then
we
there
get
was
to that point, when
person
you get to
on
the
the
members at
ballot
large,
who was
you can
absent.
select up to 2.
Sorry, somebody was
I'm sorry.
speaking to you, Fred.
May I
Yeah.
speak?
There was someone on the ballot who was
May I-
absent.
may I
Which is-
speak?
Which is fine. You can be absent and run. Ms. Williams, you were saying something?
Yes, like the last speaker, I do everything, but I am not electronically savvy, so I may need some help in doing this ballot also.
Great. We'll invite you to a breakout room as well. So
Yes.
while we're doing that, we ask that everybody please complete your ballots. And we are going to close voting, let's say at 9:15. So we'll give everyone 20 minutes to vote. So please vote in the next 20 minutes, and voting will be closed at 9:15, at which point we will count the ballots.
Excuse me, it's Warren. I believe that people have to be present for the election per the bylaws.
Okay, sounds good. We will eliminate anybody who is not present.
I can send a copy of the roll call sheet right now to the CB9 staff to ensure that nobody who's marked absent
is
their
voted.
vote is not counted.
Perfect. Thank you all.
Thank you, Alejandro.
Right, I just want to, this is what I want to be clear about. There were two names, okay? Amy withdrew, but who was the person's name that was not?
It's
I don't-
Mary Rollison Blackett, Pat.
Oh, okay, thank you.
And Kyrie Allen left and Menachem Margolin left. So I don't know what you want to do about that.
Yep, we are going to check attendance and make sure that.
So
not-
Kyrie Allen might come back and Menachem might come back, but maybe staff can call them and ask them what they're trying to do. We need their vote.
I think Menachem Margolin voted.
He did, okay.
He voted already.
Okay, Kyrie Allen left, and I'm not sure he's
He
brand new. I
voted
don't know.
before he left.
Okay,
He
very
may
good.
come back. He's by a wedding. He's checking in and out, but he voted.
Wow. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you,
asking
Yakov.
if somebody could re-forward the form. I had it about an hour ago. I'm not seeing it now, so if you could re-forward it, that would be great.
I'll forward it to you.
Fred, correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't believe we're required under Robert's rules to continuously check quorum. I think once we do the roll call and there's people on, we can assume people are here. I don't think we have to keep on checking, if I recall correctly.
That's correct. We would only need to call quorum call if we suspect we don't have quorum.
Great. We'll be checking attendance against votes in a breakout room. I'll be doing that with the CV9 staff. Make sure that there are no duplicates. We'll make sure that people who are not present are not voting. So we'll ensure accuracy. Sorry about that. Okay, happy voting. Thank you, everybody. We'll invite Evelyn Williams and
Bishop Gonzalez.
Bishop Gonzalez to a breakout. Thank you.
Hi, this is Warren. I just checked on Mendy Margulies. He is a member of the board. I was incorrect.
Okay. I mean, if they're not here, you we can vote.
No, I
So
just
what are you
wanted to-
incorrect about, Warren?
That
He
I
left.
thought,
Did he vote?
I thought Margulies could not vote in the election, but I was wrong. I just checked the list of new members and those who were not reappointed. And he is certainly a member of the board, and I apologize.
Thank you for correcting misinformation. Now, I saw that he left. We probably should call him if he didn't vote. But I think Rabbi Berman said he did vote before he left.
Yes, he did. And once again, I was wrong.
Thank you, Warren.
You're welcome.
It's
Thank
okay,
you,
we're
Warren.
used to it.
All right. Yes,
Well,
that's
it's
Warren.
really just with Yaakov, so.
All right, moving on. Yes, let us get to the voting and let me go help these folks who want some help voting. Okay, all good, everybody?
Absolutely.
Great.
Okay, so what we will do at this point, we will actually move on in the agenda. We will discuss, there was a proposal sent out to the board members. And just to give a little bit of background. So, and I know that we heard commentary before with regards to this ULA process. The main thing to say about that is that this is definitely,
Call
we
you back.
understand the frustration.
We got to talk.
Yeah. Yeah, can you hear me? Okay, yeah. The one thing I just want to make be very clear about is this is definitely not the way we wanted this to go. So there was a TRO that was put in place in March of this year. So we originally intended to have our hearing since March 16th, with a vote actually happening by the 23rd or whereabouts in March. I've been working, the ULURP committee had done a phenomenal job with regards to setting up a process by which the board was going to have an opportunity to evaluate the application, gather the information, gather the testimony, and basically put us in a position where we could consider the application and vote. Obviously with the TRO, and I think it was a little bit extended in terms of the amount of time it took to resolve that issue. So I think there was just a lot of time that was chewed off the clock in terms of we were in a holding pattern, we weren't able to do some of the activities we wanted to do. We had voted as a board with respect to going to strictly a virtual hearing. We were pulled into the lawsuit. We testified, the board testified before the judge, and the judge thought our case was compelling. And the TRO was lifted, and we were allowed to do a virtual hearing just as the board had opted to do. The only caveat with that was there was no additional time placed on the board, and by the time this action was taken, we only had about 19 days left on the clock, but even less time in terms of the board's last meeting was only going to be roughly 2 weeks out, 14 days, ending up today. Which ended up being a very, very, very compressed time frame. We received a notice on the 11th, the afternoon, the evening of the 10th. The notice had to go out for the 11th. The 21st was the only day we could possibly have had the hearing. And I understand that there were issues with regards to the timing, but that was the only possible day we could have done it, especially recognizing that we had our board hearing scheduled for the 23rd and that the primaries were being held on the 22nd, which is the reason why we had moved this meeting to the 21st to begin. It is definitely was not the wish or desire of this board was not the wish or desire of the board to go into this without having a recommendation from ULURP or any of the other committees that have worked on it. Unfortunately, these are the cards that we dealt. I do want to thank all the board members and the community for the phenomenal response in terms of the hearing. For something that was organized, I don't want to say rushed, but definitely in a compressed time frame. Our district office team they moved mountains in terms of making sure we were able to expand our Zoom license to accommodate 1,000 people, to publicize this to the best of our ability, to make sure that we met all of our mandated notification requirements. And the result was, as reported by the district manager, we had over 800 registrations that were put in for the hearing. We had, a couple of hundred of submission of testimony that was provided to the board. The board did, again, I think because we're working at compressed time frame, the board received the written testimony.
Over 200 testimony.
submissions. Yeah, and there were over 200 of those. Definitely understanding that it's very difficult to ask you to review 200, but I think what was also gleaned by the board staff was that the response was overwhelming in one direction. In terms of there was extreme opposition in this community from all those who had testified with respect to this application. Also recognizing that we were under the gun and that we did not have a recommendation, the attempt was made to draft a resolution for this board to consider. So the one correction I would make is that this is not a recommendation. I wouldn't saddle the ULURP committee with this. This wasn't something that came from the ULURP committee, but it was an attempt to try and encapsulate some of the testimony that was heard and some of the major things that were discussed in a number of the committee hearings that we have been able to attend and from conversations with chairs. So the draft that you see before you is just that. It is a draft, just to give the board a starting point from which to have a conversation. If there is any materials or information that is missing that you feel should be included, it is absolutely possible for us to include it. If you feel that there are any points of it that are not appropriate for this resolution, that is the prerogative of the board and you as members to vote against those as well. But at this time, if I could ask, would the district office team be able to make me a co-host so I can share my screen?
Give me 1 second. Khalid's gonna have to do it.
Absolutely. And again, to the public, I apologize if you do not have an opportunity to have this posted, but this is something that is really quite literally hot off the press. There was just a lot of work being done because of the press time. But we're going to try and do a screen share so at least you can see what it is the board is considering.
All right, he's about to do it right now.
Okay. Okay, here, one moment while I try to. Okay, can everyone see a Word document?
Yes.
Okay.
It is kind of
Alright,
small, Fred. Could you make it bigger?
I'll see if I can zoom it in as well.
Yeah, thanks.
Bear with me 1 second, hold on. Is that readable?
Yeah, that's much better.
Okay. All right, and I'll try and make sure we scroll through it. So the language presented for the consideration of the board this evening is, whereas the application for 960 Franklin Avenue was filed on April 30th, 2020, and certified for public review by the City Planning Commission on February 4th, 2020. Whereas Brooklyn Community Board 9, through its ULURP, Parks, Recreation, Cultural Affairs, Environmental Protection, and Housing Committees, has conducted a coordinated review of the application. Whereas CB9, as part of its due diligence, has requested the production of supplemental materials as part of the application review from the applicant and the Department of City Planning. Whereas CB9 requested project financial documents and a copy of the restricted declaration, any proposed community benefits, and they were not provided after the repeated requests. Whereas shadow studies conducted as part of the draft environmental impact statement have indicated the potential for significant adverse effects on portions of the community district, including the Brooklyn Botanic Garden and the Jackie Robinson Playground. Whereas CB9 conducted a public hearing on June 21st, 2021 on the 960 Franklin Avenue application with a quorum in accordance with the Uniform Land Use Review Procedure. Whereas the overwhelming majority of the testimony provided to the board as part of the public review is in opposition to the application. Whereas testimony provided indicates serious concerns on the effects of this unprecedented development would have on the Brooklyn Botanic Garden, the Jackie Robinson Playground, local infrastructure, service delivery, and quality of life. Whereas the large influx of market rate housing in the district has the potential to create upward pressure on current housing stock and rental pricing. Whereas the affordable housing options proposed by the developer are insufficient given a significant portion of the community district falls below the proposed income bands. Whereas the project is grossly inconsistent with current zoning and threatens to set a precedent of large-scale unaffordable development. Whereas CB9 previously participated in a scoping review for 960 Franklin Avenue in March 2019 and subsequently voted in the negative on the application. Whereas there was little interaction between the applicant and the board to try and incorporate community concerns into a revised application prior to filing. Whereas the 1991 zoning of the district previously contemplated the issue of height restrictions in the buildings in close proximity to the Brooklyn Botanic Garden. Therefore, it is resolved that the recommendation of Brooklyn Community Board 9 is to disapprove the application for 960 Franklin Avenue without modifications conditions. It is also resolved that the 1991 zoning of the district previously contemplated the issue of height restrictions for the protection of the Brooklyn Botanic Garden and should be sustained. It is further resolved that any proposed modifications to the application after certification should not be considered as part of this ULURP review, as the board has not been provided sufficient documentation to substantiate or refute any claims made in any revised presentations. It is further resolved that as the magnitude of the proposed project is grossly inconsistent with the character of the neighborhood and the applicant has not acted in good faith to address community concerns, the recommendation of Brooklyn Community Board 9 is that the Brooklyn Borough President, the Borough Board, the City Planning Commission, the City Council, and the Mayor should disapprove the application without modifications conditions. This resolution is presented to the board for consideration. At this time, I will entertain a motion to adopt this resolution, after which we will discuss. And make any modifications. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
I have moved by Nolan Levinson.
Second.
Seconded by. Has been moved and seconded. Moved and properly seconded. At this time, we will create a speakers list. Are there any members who wish to speak with respect to the proposed resolution?
I'd like to
Raise your
speak,
hand.
Fred.
Actually, give me 1 second. We'll establish the speakers list and we'll call it to start calling. But I have your name on the list. So Rabbi Berman, I have you. Hold on. Are there anyone else who wishes to speak? I see you,
Beverly's
Beverly.
hand is up.
Yep, I see you, Beverly.
Alejandro's.
Okay, Alejandro, I have you. Is there anyone who wishes to speak? All right, at this time, we'll begin discussion. Rabbi Berman, go ahead.
Fred, thank you so much. I'm not going to actually, I'm not taking a position on the motion because I was not present by a lot of the meetings. I'm just going to say that somebody used, and I may have misheard, but it sounded like somebody used the word murder tonight. I don't know if they're talking about trees, grass, but definitely in relation to this project. And I got to tell you, as a community member living in Crown Heights, 1982, and again, it's as justified as the opposition is, and as passionate people are about this opposition, I feel the rhetoric surrounding this campaign and other developments have been totally beyond what is acceptable language. And I think that as much as everything, and everybody has to fight to preserve the neighborhood and fight for the community, we really have to be more careful with our rhetoric, because rhetoric translates into violence. And the rhetoric surrounding and the emails I've been getting from certain community members have been completely way above acceptable behavior and language. And I ask that we all be cautious about how we talk and how we speak and what we say. So like I said, this rhetoric is going to eventually translate to violence, and we don't want that. Thank you.
Thank you, Yakov. Ms. Newsom.
Thank you. I think the letter should be made to include the responsibilities of both sides not holding up their responsibility to the community. Like I said before, Continuum didn't give all the information that was requested by the community board, but BBG didn't hold presentations for the community as well. They allowed the community to take certain bits of information and run with it. They didn't hold a formal hearing in front of ULURP, in front of aspects of the community. They went to electeds and that was it. Not to the broader community, but they allowed the broader community to take up a few sound bites and move with it without any concrete facts or foundation. And I think both parties were irresponsible, and that needs to be included in the letter, not just the development's irresponsibility, but also BBG's lack of responsibility too to the community.
Okay, do you have specific language you want included, or do you want a minute to think about that?
Yes, well, I mean, you can modify any way you want, but one of the things that should be spoken is, like I was saying, BBG, given the their presence in the community, they should have, and of course, make it sound nice, but they should have had open forums with people in authority to speak to the community, present to the community about this is what we've done to examine what would happen to these particular plants if the tower is built at these days. Now, all of us have heard rumors of how surveys were done, but we don't have authorization. We don't have any president, vice president. We heard a trustee testify, but we need to hear individuals. What would be the economic effect to BBG? What, all of those things, because BBG supports museums and gardens all over the world. So they should have taken more of an upfront presentation in all of this. So if you could say, list the components that they should have included that they didn't, presenting to the community, the impact on the plants, the financial impact to BBG, things like that. That would be my suggestion.
Okay, just as a matter of process. So right now, the motion on the floor is to adopt the resolution as it's written.
Oh, sorry.
The members, no problem. The member, as a member, if you want to amend it, that's fine. But it would just be a matter of you make a motion to amend, to include or remove or whatever it is, at which point we would have to vote on that amendment. And then that would be the new doc we're working on until we finally get to a document that we're going to do. So that's the only reason why I asked. It's like, if you have concise language that you're thinking of, you can propose
Yes.
that as a motion. And at that point, we can vote on it, whether yes, it goes in, or if we decide, we're going to stick with that, or if there's some other changes.
But we have to vote on the motion that's currently on the floor first, right?
No. We're discussing the motion. We're discussing.
Okay. So I like a
if
motion.
you want to amend it, yeah.
Yes, I
Yes,
like
you
to
can
make a
move to
motion.
amend.
Yes, I make a motion to amend.
Okay, but I need the language. We need the
Okay, I
language
like
for
a
the
motion to
secretary.
amend. I like to make a motion to amend that BBG be included regarding their lack of responsibility to the community in not presenting, one, the cost to the garden for the effect that the tower would have. Two, what level of information, like they are a resource all over the world. So what other entities would be affected outside of BBG, given their significance in the community that they represent?
I think you lost
Is
the
that too
secretary
much?
a while ago on this one. Yeah.
I'm
I think
sorry?
if we can make it more concise. Yeah, I think you lost the secretary a while ago on that one.
Okay,
If you
sorry.
could just, yeah, no, I mean, no, listen, if you can just, write it down in a couple sentences, I'll recognize you shortly, and you
Okay,
can
will
propose
do.
your amendment.
All right, will do. Thank you.
All right, I see Alejandra, and then I see Warren Burke.
Thank you, Fred.
Alejandra?
Yes. Again, I just want to raise my concerns, which I feel are fairly accurately represented in the ULURP resolution as presented currently. From the Housing Committee standpoint, there were various things that we raised as a committee that were potentially problematic and issues relating to the 960 Franklin rezoning, particularly dealing with the lack of affordable housing. Most of the affordable housing that was presented does not adequately provide for the members of the community currently present, particularly because of the way that the AMI is calculated. Most of the housing would have gone to people making $70,000, $80,000 plus, with a significant portion going to people making, in a family of four, up to $100,000, $120,000. Additionally, there was no either let's say concessions or I forget the word I'm looking for. The developers didn't say whether or not the affordable housing tenants would actually have equitable access to all facilities. And during the presentation, they said that affordable housing tenants would not have access to the parking garage. So there's already a concern about whether or not there would be a quote unquote poor door or disparate access in terms of access to amenities and other features of the development. And additionally, this is just grossly out of proportion, would raise housing prices for everyone in the immediate vicinity. And I think it's well echoed in the ULURP resolution as stated. So I won't beat a dead horse, but I just want to issue my or state my strong recommendation that we disapprove of this rezoning.
Okay. Thank you, Madam Secretary. Warren.
I have comments for discussion on Beverly's proposal or addendum to the minutes. So as soon as that's officially made, I'd like to speak during discussion.
Sure. And once there's a motion made, that will open up. We'll open up a separate speakers list to discuss that.
Yeah. Has there been a second to that motion?
No, it hasn't been moved yet. I think everybody's working on the language a little bit, so we'll give a moment for her to do that as well if she still wishes to do that.
Excellent. Thank you.
Okay. Are there any other comments?
Yeah, I have a quick comment.
Yes, go ahead, Suki.
At one of the earlier meetings that the board had with the developer, which was not an official hearing, obviously, but I think Esteban asked an excellent question about whether the developer would consider using union labor under the as of right. And somebody else might have asked if he was prepared to do affordable housing under the as of right, using different tax credits that are available at the state and federal level. And he said yes. And I'm just wondering if that's something that should be noted as well, so that people along the process know that both affordable housing and union labor are options under the as of right zoning.
With respect to that now, the curious thing is, I think one of the things that the document asks for is not to consider anything beyond what they actually presented. So the application actually asks for the 39 stories. That was the original application. I don't think it's been amended. The applicant has offered a 34-story option, a 17-story option, and I guess as of right was the other one. But I think that last part of the resolution says that, well, listen, as all those things, one things considered, they were kind of throw-ins at the last moment. Those should need to be considered as part of the
Right. I mean,
application. We should just be voting
they're
up or down on what
absolutely,
they actually want.
yeah, no, it's absolutely not a zoning issue. And I completely agree that it should be made very clear that we're not considering any modifications to the zoning. I'm just wondering whether we should note that these things are possible without touching the zoning. Right?
For what purpose?
Just
For what
because like
purpose?
I can imagine like this resolution going up before other, like people who haven't been part of this process, like, the borough board or the city planning commission or whatever, and they're all saying, oh, but what about this? But what about that? In the back of their minds. I mean, ideally they would give some deference to what we have to say and just vote with us, but
Well, no, but I think it's pretty pointed in this respect, and I think it's pretty pointed as saying it's not even something you consider because, and if I can take a point of personal privilege at this point, it's disrespectful, quite frankly, in terms of these are all options that they could have discussed over the last 2 to 3 years. It's only when it came down to it and they saw that this is going to be a loser, then all of a sudden they throw all these other things
right,
and effectively try and bypass the opinion of the board.
right,
If this is an option that could have been discussed, there was plenty of opportunity to do that.
right.
So I don't think we should reward the behavior or encourage it where it's like, you know what, don't worry about what happens at the board. We'll take care of it further down the line. So I think that this is an opportunity for this board to set the precedent. No. You have the conversations here in the neighborhood that you are going to affect. And I think that we should be asking our elected officials, don't support it. We've got to stop that dynamic. Let it start here, let those conversations happen here.
Right.
And it should be supported by here, and it should be a matter of, yes, started at Community Board 9, we had the conversation. Nobody says tweaks can't happen further up, but I think it's a terrible process in terms of we're almost overlooked on that.
Okay, that's fair enough. I mean, I think it's a good resolution. I'm happy with it.
I sent the requested modifications, Fred, to your email.
Oh, okay. Give me 1 second, see if I can track it down. Bear with me 1 moment. I'll try and pull it down, see if I can share it as well. Which send it to CB90 now?
Ed, could you read it so we could all hear?
I'm sorry, can you repeat that?
I asked Beverly to please read it so that we could all hear.
Yeah, Beverly, while I'm looking for this, could you read the proposal and I'll see if I can pull it up on the screen so that we can show it.
And Fred, this is Primo. I know this is extra annoying and not the time to interrupt this conversation, but let's just get it out of the way. We do have a runoff situation. We have a runoff between, so one member at large was selected by a majority vote. And then there are 2 people who came kind of in second and third. We're going to do a runoff between them. That's Nicholas Almanor and Linda Watson Lord. And that form is being sent out to this group. Every single member who's in this meeting voted in the first election process. And Khalid is going to send around a runoff, you can only select one of those two candidates. And this is running for the second position of member at large. That's Nicholas Almanor and Linda Watson Lord. Evelyn Williams was already selected as the first she received the majority of the votes. So Khalid is sending that around, okay?
Okay, thank you very much. Okay, so that's going to be going around. Make sure we look at that in the box. Dante, do I still have sharing privileges?
You should, let me look. Yeah, you're a co-host.
Okay, bear with me 1 second. I'll bring this right up. Okay, tell me if you're able to see my screen.
We can see it. Can you zoom in on the language?
I'll see if I can.
Might be able to do control and the plus sign.
So plus. You learn something new every day. There we go. Can everyone see that?
No.
Yes.
What about now?
I see half of it.
Yes.
Let me try to open this.
Let me go minus. Okay, well, listen. So the proposal, the proposal is modify the current motion by including the lack of BBG's responsibility to ensure the community is sufficiently informed. Holding formal presentations for holding a forum with the community, allowing questions and. Okay, all right. Okay, so I'm just trying to figure out what the specific language you put.
That's too much also?
No, I'm just trying to figure out the wording. So that way, you know, you see, just because it says whereas this, whereas that, whereas. So I guess it's, so whereas BBG had a responsibility to ensure the commission, the community was sufficiently informed either through holding formal presentations to the ULURP committee or by holding a forum with the community, allowing questions and giving answers.
Perfect. That sounds good, Fred.
All right, we're gonna go with that. Hopefully somebody wrote it down. All right, so Beverly, I'm assuming you're moving that amendment. You're moving to amend the document to include that text.
Yes, please.
And I'll
So
second.
Beverly's moving that. And the second is, I'm sorry, was that?
I'll
I support
second.
that. Okay.
Yanela Roan Perry.
That was
Okay,
actually.
fair enough.
Go ahead.
Yeah.
Oh,
Linda.
I'm sorry. My apologies. I can't see it. I just see the screen, so I can't see it. Okay, well, let's go back. So moved and seconded. Now we will have discussion on the amendment. Warren, I know you said you had a question, so I'll see you.
Yeah, I see Warren, I see Amy Pinkerton,
Pinkerton.
Alejandra,
Okay, see Carvalho.
Nolan,
Okay, Levinson.
and that's all the hands that I see right now.
Okay. As the maker of the motion, Beverly, did you want to speak to it? You got first crack.
Thank you. Well, really, it pretty much, I'm hoping it's pretty clear in the motion because we in the community are stuck in the middle. We as community boards in particular, because we're having the decision to make and neither one of the parties involved deemed it important enough to give us as much information as they had available to them. But we're still forced to make the decision. Yes, the letter that we have in front of us, it does address the basics. Majority of our community is against the project, but we need to see the whole picture. And right now we don't have the whole picture. We have what everybody's presented to us through passion. That's all we have. We have passion. We have the plans from the developer, but we need to see everybody's information. And we don't have the developers. We don't have all the information they have that they should have given us. And we don't see BBG, all the information that they should have given us. Each one of these parties are holding something back from us.
Okay, all right. Thank you, Beverly. Warren, we'll see you next.
Hi, everybody. I just wanted to put into the record that when Pat Baker was chair about 2 or 3, I guess 3 years ago, there was a very in-depth environmental hearing on this, and I attended it, and BBG had about 5 or 6 people speak, one from each of their divisions on what the damage would be for this if the building was built. So I think that information is available for anyone who wants to look at. It was really intense from my perspective, but that's as a resident. The second point I want to make is that BBG is not the issue here. We're dealing with a ULIP matter, and that concerns the developer. So on both issues, and with due respect to Beverly, who I obviously respect very much, I do believe everything has been entered into the record. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Warren. Amy Pinkerton?
Yeah, hi. To echo Warren's point, I think it was the summer of 2019 that BBG hosted a very large, very well attended, and very thorough presentation to the public. They had the Municipal Arts Society speak. They had slideshows. They had multiple speakers. They spoke very passionately against the project. They had models built. They showed the shadowing. So it was very much advertised and attended by the public, and the press covered it. And I feel like if we put something of this nature in the document, we weaken our positions by just basically coming across as not informed in this regard, the way it's written. So my 2 cents.
Thank you, Amy. Alejandra?
So I think for people who don't know me, I'm an attorney by day. One of the concepts that happens in court is called burden of proof. And I think this very much applies to developers. If you are coming into a community and wanting to develop and rezone the existing community, I feel that the burden of proof falls on the developer and not on the community that's being impacted. So in this particular instance, if the developer feels that their development and rezoning request will not impact the botanical gardens, it is incumbent upon them to demonstrate that it will not impact the botanical gardens. Botanical gardens should not be required to have to demonstrate all of this proof as to why they will be impacted. I think they have done that regardless, and they have done it well. And I think it's been very well demonstrated in the environmental impact studies that this will hinder the botanical gardens. And we had dozens and dozens of people expressing that exact sentiment on Monday, and additionally to the testimony. But I strongly recommend that we do not adopt this amendment. It is not incumbent upon BBG to demonstrate the harm to them. It is incumbent upon the developer to show that their development does not harm BBG. Thank you.
Thank you, Alejandra. Nolan?
Alejandra said what I wanted to say, but way more eloquently, and I agree wholeheartedly.
Okay. Are there any more comments? Are there any more speakers?
I'm not sure if Beverly's hand is still up from the last time or if she's wanting to speak again.
I would like to speak again, please.
Sure, hold on 1 second. Before we go back for seconds, let's just make sure everybody gets a chance to speak the first time.
Okay.
Give me 1 second. Is there anyone else who wants to speak?
Yeah, I like to speak. This is Pat Moses, the chair. I do kind of understand what Beverly is speaking about. If you go back to one of the meetings that we had, and I think it was brought up, really someone from the, not from the community board, but from the guests that we had. And they asked them specifically, Botanical Gardens, why they did not bring anything forward in terms of a presentation. And I don't know, it had something to do with funding or whatever, but I know it was asked and they never brought anything forward. I mean, they had people speaking out against it, but they never did any presentation. Now, I also know in the presentation that with the developer, I know that they had asked, well, we can get together and discuss whatever it was, and they evidently didn't respond. And I look at it as when you're the chairperson of a committee, that you have to be open to listen to both sides, no matter how you feel personally or how you feel, but you have to give both sides a chance, and that's how the community, we make a decision for the community, and that's how that happens. But it can't be all lopsided where everybody's against. There are some people that are for, and you have to listen to both sides. That's it.
Hi, excuse me, Fred, it's Warren. I do remember that meeting specifically. The reason that Adrian Benepe said that they couldn't do X, Y, and Z was because they're funded by the city. And they made the statements at the environmental impact, and that was all they can do. Thank you.
Okay, thank you for that. But I just want to remind the members, wait to be recognized as well, because actually Beverly was supposed to start the list over.
I
Beverly,
apologize.
go ahead. No worries. Okay, Beverly,
So-
you had, you said, want to follow up?
Right, yes, please. I understand the community is going to burden of proof is on the developer, but when BBG turned to the community to support their case, then the community became involved in its outcome. It was already involved in its outcome, but BBG, instead of presenting, and even if they did it 2-3 years ago, how long ago it was also even more reason for them to revisit and say, listen, this is to renew your memory, blah, 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 blah. This is what we saw. Also, they relied on the community to fight their case. So it's not just about the developer. The community board is a community organization. Not only that, they solicited signatures from people who attended BBG. So it wasn't just the developer. This is something that the community is being asked to support or deny. They need to prove a case.
Okay, thank you very much. Are there any other comments with respect to Alejandro? Did you want to speak again? I see your hand raised. Did you want to speak, Alejandro?
Oh, no, that was from prior.
Okay, all right. Okay, unless we have any other speakers, I think we're going to call the question.
Fred, my last interruption. I'm so sorry to everybody. We made the mistake of not asking people for their name and email address the first time we sent the runoff. We sent it again, asking for your name and your email address. If you could just fill out the new form, I would greatly appreciate it. I apologize for the inconvenience.
We have the Dr. CB9 pay now. Okay, but I'm sorry, but back to seriousness. Okay, so unless there are any other speakers with regards to the matter, we're going to call the question. So the motion currently is to include the language that we had read before with respect to BBG and their responsibility to ensure the community is sufficiently informed by either having a formal presentation to the dealer committee or holding a forum with the community, allowing questions and giving answers. A vote in favor is to incorporate the amendment to the resolution. A vote against is to not include it, and the resolution stands as it currently is written. Madam Secretary, would you please call the roll?
Hold on, Fred, can we just hear that that motion, the original motion one more time?
You're gonna make me do it again, huh? Okay. All right, the motion is whereas BBG had a responsibility to ensure the community was sufficiently informed, either by holding a formal presentation to the Euler Committee or by holding a forum with the community, allowing questions and giving answers.
I'm sorry, the motion that's been modified, original motion, what was that one?
Which original motion? I'm sorry. No, this is, what we're considering right now is an amendment. So this amendment, the motion on the floor, the original motion was that resolution, that whole resolution that you have. Right now, we're considering an amendment to that resolution to add this language. So if this motion passes, this amendment passes, this gets added to that original text.
All right.
Oh, Lord.
Are we clear? Okay, so with that, a vote in favor is to add the amendment, a vote opposed is to leave the original resolution. Madam Secretary, would you please call the roll?
Please be prepared to unmute yourselves as I call your name. Kyrie Aline. Kyrie Aline. Nicholas Almanor.
No.
Stuart, or sorry, not present. Fred Baptiste. Sorry, you're muted.
Yeah, good myself, no.
Naomi Baptiste. Naomi Baptiste. Please be prepared to unmute yourselves. Naomi Baptiste. I will call everybody's name at the end who did not answer. John Beckle Jr. Oh, sorry, they are not present. Rabbi Yaakov Berman. Rabbi Yaakov Berman. Warren Burke.
No.
Augustine Blackwell.
Yeah.
Alejandra Carballo, no. Suki Chung.
No.
I didn't hear. Did you call my name?
Yes, I did, Rabbi. Yes or no on the question?
On the motion?
Yes,
I'm abstaining.
abstaining. Thank you.
This is development motion, right? The rezoning, the whatever, Franklin?
This is to amend rezoning to include,
I'm abstaining. I'm abstaining.
Okay.
this is a motion to, oh, abstaining, okay. Tessa Hackett Vieira.
No.
Bishop Sylvetta Hamilton Gonzalez.
No.
Shlomo Zalman Hecht. Shlomo Zalman Hecht. If you're unable to unmute yourself in time, I will call back everybody's name who missed the vote at the end. Primo Lasana.
No.
Francisca Leopold.
No.
Mina Lagute.
No.
Nolan Levinson.
No.
Melanie Lewis.
No.
Matthias Limberger.
No.
Christian LeBeau.
No.
Menachem Margolin.
Abstain.
Thank you. Carmen Martinez. Vivian Morgan.
They're absent.
Okay, just double checking. Pat Moses,
Abstain.
Beverly Newsom,
Yes.
Yankee Pearson.
Abstain.
Thank you. Riel Peerbooms. Riel Peerbooms.
What is wrong with you?
Amy Pinkerton.
No.
Unella Rome Perry.
Yes.
Dexter Roberts.
No.
Felice Robertson. Mary Rollerson Blackett. Melissa Sevier.
No.
Rashida Sadiq.
No.
Rabbi Shanina Sperlin. Shanina Sperlin. Rashida Sykes. Debbie Timothy.
No.
Linda Watson Lord.
No.
Evelyn Williams. Evelyn Williams. Ms. Williams, are having trouble unmuting yourself. Let me know, or I guess I don't know how we can do it through the chat. Mark it as absent for now.
I just voted no. I don't know why you can hear me.
Okay, I can hear you now. Thank you so much, Ms. Williams.
You're welcome.
Lorianne Wolseley.
No.
Cheryl Wright.
No.
Okay, I'm going to call anyone who was present earlier for the roll call who has not voted. Kyrie Aline. Naomi Baptiste. I believe. Shloma Zalman Hecht.
Abstain.
Thank you. Rio Peerbooms. Shanina Sperlin. Okay. Chair, 23 no votes. The no votes have it. The motion fails.
Thank you very much, Madam Secretary. Motion fails. All right, so the resolution as written is currently what is before the board. Unless there are any other, we can go back to the speakers list. Unless there are any other comments, we will call the question.
So called.
Seeing no comment. Okay, the question is called. Madam Secretary, could you please call the roll? A vote in favor is to adopt the resolution as written. A vote no is against the resolution. To not adopt.
Okay. Again, just to repeat, the A yes vote is to adopt the motion. A no vote is to not adopt the motion as presented. Kyrie Aline. Nicholas Almanor.
Yes.
Fred Baptiste.
Yeah, oh, hold on, can't find myself. Yes.
Naomi Baptiste. Rabbi Yaakov Berman.
Abstain.
Warren Burke.
Yes.
Augustine Blackwell.
Abstain.
Alejandra Caraballo, yes. Suki Chong.
Yes.
Tessa Hackett Vieira.
Abstain.
Bishop Sylvetta Hamilton Gonzalez.
Yes.
Shlomo Zalman Hecht.
Abstain.
Primo Lasana.
I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Can you remind me of this motion?
This is to adopt the
Resolution.
resolution as stated, the full resolution from the ULURP committee.
The full resolution from the ULURP committee. I'm voting in favor of the full resolution from the ULURP committee.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Francisco Leopold. Francisco Leopold.
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes, thank you. Mina Lagute.
Yes.
Nolan Levinson.
Yes.
Melanie Lewis.
Yes.
Matthias Limburger.
Yes.
Christian LeBeau.
Yes.
Menachem Margolin.
Abstain.
Thank you. Pat Moses.
Abstain.
Beverly Newsom.
No.
Yankee Pearson.
Abstain.
Riel Peerbooms. Amy Pinkerton.
Yes.
Unella Rome Perry.
No.
Dexter Roberts.
Yes.
Melissa Severe.
Yes.
Rashida Sadiq.
Yes.
Rabbi Shanina Sperlin. Rashida Sykes. Debbie Timothy.
Yes.
Linda Watson Lord. Linda Watson Lord.
Yes.
Thank you. Evelyn Williams.
Abstain.
Lorraine Wolseley.
It's Lorianne Woolsey. Could you repeat what we're voting on one more time, please?
Yes, we are voting on approving the ULURP resolution, disapproving of the approval of the 960 Franklin rezoning. So a yes vote is to disapprove and vote in favor of the ULURP resolution. I hope
As read by Fred, what he read into the.
Yes, what was shown to us prior.
Yes.
Cheryl Wright.
Yes.
Well, Alejandra.
Hello?
Yes, hi Naomi, we can hear you.
We have 22 yes votes.
I'm sorry, can you say that again?
Oh, Naomi Baptiste, are you voting in favor, yes or no, of the resolution?
Yes, I voted.
Yes, in favor? Okay. There's 23 yes votes in favor.
Madam Secretary, can you confirm, were there any non-responses? Can we just check if there were anybody who didn't for a vote?
There was nobody who responded to the prior question who did not respond to this question. Or who was prior present.
Okay, just to make sure we have this properly recorded, are there any members who joined late or anything who did not record their votes? Or who dropped off for any reason? Okay, I'm sorry, go ahead, Madam Secretary. What was the final poll?
23 in favor. Apologies, I'm gonna. Two voting no, against. And 8 abstaining.
Okay,
Motion carries.
thank you very much. Motion carries. The resolution is adopted by the board. We will direct the district office to fill out the appropriate documentation, expressing the board has disapproved the application without modifications. And we will also submit this resolution as testimony to Borough Hall at their hearing next week. This is not easy work we do, and I know there's a lot of conversation. And it's not unanimous, obviously, but I think that's what we do as a board. We weigh these matters and we vote our conscience. And the board has voted, and we are going to move forward with this. I want to thank everyone.
We have another vote. Did we vote on the liquor license?
Oh, no, we're not done yet. Don't worry about that. Just,
Let's do that quickly because people have to go to sleep, Fred. It's 10 o'clock.
Understood. Yes, so anyway, I just want to thank everyone with respect to this entire process. Especially, I want to make sure that I recognize our ULURP committee, who's worked very hard with this to get us to this point. I thank all the community members also who have participated in all the hearings and everything else as well. All right, so let us move on. We're going to go back in the agenda. Well, actually, as long as I had, Primo, do you have results for the elections?
Yeah, so we had 33 people. Everybody who's here vote in the first round. We had 24 votes for the second round. We could open it up for another few minutes to allow anybody who hasn't voted in the runoff election to vote again, or we could call it. If you want to give people another 2-3 minutes, we can do that.
Can we vote on the liquor license in the meantime, please?
We need to get the election results. We need to get the election results. Primo, is there a majority vote? So in other words,
there is
candidates have a majority vote?
A majority vote based on the 24 responses.
Okay, if we could have okay, so yeah, let's not prolong that. What are the results of the election then? Based on what you have.
Okay, we'll be calling the election now then.
Wait, hold on, Fred, it's a majority vote based on the members that voted, the members present. How does that work?
Well, if there's a majority vote, so in other words, if somebody got over 20, 22, 23 votes, then they would have been elected. That's a majority.
Someone got a majority of the 24 votes that were cast.
That's not a majority.
This is a majority of the people who are present then, right?
I believe so.
Well, present and voting.
We're
So
missing.
they didn't vote.
Then if the people who did not vote could take the time to vote, that would be great. It's sitting in your inbox. Take the next 2 to 3 minutes to cast your votes. We have 33 members of the board present at the moment. All you need to do is open your email and submit a vote. You can choose to abstain, but you need to make a vote in the runoff election. Thank you.
All right, so we'll allow another 5 minutes or so for the for members to cast their votes, and then we'll get those results. All right, so moving on to the next item, we'll go back to SLA applications. So the SLA application was presented earlier. The recommendation of the committee was to approve. Are there any questions? Seeing none, we will call for a voice vote. Yeah, we'll call for a voice vote. All those members in favor of accepting the committee's recommendation and approving the application, please say aye.
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 Are there any members opposed? Please say nay. Are there any members abstaining from the vote? Please indicate. Madam Secretary, please let the record reflect that the board voted to approve, accept the recommendation unanimously.
Thank you, everyone.
Okay.
Turn up the lights so we can wipe up the place. No?
All right, so listen, I just asked for indulgence for a couple more minutes just while we confirm the vote. Please make sure you stay on. Let us confirm the vote so that way it's official. We can record it in the minutes, and then we'll be able to adjourn for the year. Just to buy some time while we're doing that process. Again, I want to thank everyone for all the hard work. Next week again, the Borough President's Office will be having a hearing with respect to the ULIP application. The information is at the board office. The Borough President's representative did advise is going to begin at 5 p.m. next week, Tuesday, the 29th. Anyone who wishes to testify may register at the Borough President's Office. Our recommendation will be logged in with the Borough President's Office and with the Department of City Planning. And the intent is also to testify before the Borough President's Office. I think one of the things that's critical for us to do from now on is to make sure whenever we make decisions, we have to make sure there's accountability and we have to follow them. So one of the commitments that we're making is assuming things, I believe one of the commitments is that as the leadership, we will follow the election. We will follow the election. We will follow the recommendation to the Borough President's Office. And if it proceeds any further, we will follow it there as well. But I think the new chapter is we are going to make sure that there's accountability and that the voice of this district is heard wherever it needs to be heard.
Thank you, Fred. Can we move on?
Primo, how are we looking?
Fred, before Primo starts, I just want to read section 6.2 subsection B says that an election of an officer shall be by the majority vote of members present.
Right. So we are pretty much one vote away. There are 7 people here who have not voted. I can name 2 of them that I know are here who haven't voted. Warren Burke would love to have you submit a vote in the runoff election. That would be helpful. And then who else do we have? Melissa Severe. It'd be great to have you vote in the runoff election. I'm not able to track down every other single person who hasn't voted yet, but those are sitting in your inbox and we are so very close. We just need 1 or 2 more votes. So folks who are here, please take the time sitting in your inbox. It'll take you 10 seconds. Please just submit a vote, even if it's an abstention.
Hi. Hey, it's Warren. I did vote, but let me check it again.
Thank you.
We saw. There was a second ballot that went in, right? Correct? Wasn't there a first one?
Yes, it's the second ballot.
That was,
No, I know that. I voted for someone, so.
The second ballot.
Did it have your last name and email?
Apparently I did it wrong. Hold on. Have patience.
Fred,
Primo, was that the one sent at 21, at 9:36?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Fred, did you vote?
Okay. Hold on. Boy, I'm getting tons of texts just berating me. Okay.
I'm sorry to cut off, Warren, but I looked for your name.
That's okay. I'm tough. I'm tough.
You're this vice chair, so
I know, and I'm happy to be a decision maker. But now that everyone knows that, hold on. Someone else.
We're done. It's over. The election is officially over. Doesn't matter. We have a majority at this point.
Okay, but I did vote, just so everyone knows. Okay.
I can run you through the selections right now, and you can record it. Our chairperson is Fred Baptiste. Our first vice chair is Warren Burke. Our second vice chair is Francisca Leopold. Our executive secretary is Alejandra Caraballo. Our treasurer is Dexter Roberts. And selected as members at large are Evelyn Williams and Nicholas Almanor. Thank you, everybody. And congratulations, newly appointed members, and thank you to everybody who ran in this election.
Thanks, everyone, and congratulations to my colleagues and all those and to all those who voted. And congratulations.
Good night. See you in
And in the
September.
30 seconds we have,
Wait, hold on one
do
second.
want
I
to
just
say-
want to, excuse me, Fred. I just want to thank Primo and the nomination committee. They did just a wonderful job. And I think the proof of that is they even got me to vote.
Thank you, Warren.
Thank you all.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
And-
yeah,
and-
I
and I
attest
think
to that. Yeah. Well, job well done, Primo. Job well
And-
done.
So last tip. One, again, just to echo that, thank you so much to Primo and the rest of the nominations committee for running an excellent election. Two, again, I want to thank the Euler committee and all those members for getting us through this process. Three, I do want to thank two outgoing members of the executive committee, Debbie Timothy, who has served as our treasurer for the last couple of years. We want to thank you for your service to this board. Additionally, I also want to thank Vivian Morgan, who is also not, who did not run again. I want to thank you both for your service to this board. As we celebrated new members who came in, I know there are some members who did not come back this year, but I do want to thank you for your service. I mean, this is a tough job we do, but you've made the sacrifice, you stepped up, and I want to thank everyone. To everyone, we have a lot of work to do. We're going to continue. This board is on the right trajectory, and we're going to do it. And lastly, I just want to thank our district office team, the silent soldiers who really get it done. I want to thank you for all the work you do, day in and day out. And with that,
Amanda got to get out that shot.
and with that, is there any unfinished business? Seeing
Can
none.
you hear me?
Yes, Ms. Williams, I hear you.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Oh, I just want to say thank everyone so much who voted for me. I promise you that I promise I will not let you down. I will live up to my community ability to do whatever it takes. I want to congratulate all the winning members, and I want to congratulate this board for the work that you're doing now. And I really, really am happy that I'm able to continue with you, because of some time ago I wanted to quit, but now the board is doing so good that I'm so happy that I get to work with you more. And for the chair of the election committee and vice chair, I think you've done a wonderful job, as always. And may God bless everyone. God bless America. And God bless Crown Heights. We have a very diverse community here, and we have to remember we have to work on all spectrum of this community, working with everyone for progress to this community. Thank you.
Congratulations, Nicholas. Thank
you so much.
Thank you.
Congratulations,
I like
all.
to thank everyone who voted for me, and the most important thing is the community. So I behold to no one but the community.
Thank you.
Vote.
I want to join Ms. Williams and say thanks for all her contributions she have given over the years. And it's a joy that I get after 20 years to actually see her along for knowing her name. So I thank you, Amanar. You be good. And I thank all those people who had voted for me. Have a nice night. Bye.
And thank you. Those are very nice words.
Absolutely. And with that, I will.
Fred, could I eat my
entertain a
dinner now,
motion-
please?
You know, no one's getting off. Maybe we should continue the meeting.
Well, I was gonna say,
Yeah.
I will entertain a motion. I will entertain a motion to adjourn at this time.
So
Of course it needs this book.
Seconded.
So, Madam Secretary, pick one. All in favor to adjourn, please say aye.
Aye. And good night, everybody.
We, time is 10:09 p.m. We stand adjourned. Everyone have a good summer.
Thank you. Same
to
to
you.
you.
Good night, everyone. Good night. Be safe.
Good night, everyone.
Good night, Francesca.
Good night, Warren.